For the North Side, the gentrified version of Sweet Home Chicago. We whiten it up, we make it a little easier, and then everybody enjoys and says that it's nice. This is the Bennington Show on a Thursday. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I'm Ron Bennington. Now, last night, the Chicago Cubs did it. They came back after being 3 games down. It was a ridiculous World Series game last night. Some people are saying it was great, but if you're a baseball fan, it was fucking just so many fundamental mistakes. You couldn't believe it.
What errors?
Let alone the managerial mistakes. Fucking Madden is coaching that game with his asshole all night, and now is going to be remembered as one of the greats of all time. But if the Cubs lose that game, I don't know if that fucker's got a job. I don't know if he's got a job. He was managing so bad. But it was 100% fun and exciting the whole time. And now the city of Chicago gets to celebrate and cry and do all this shit they've been doing for the last 12 hours. I got a little surprise for everybody. I'm working right now with the mayor's office, and I'm trying to put together a parade in Chicago and an exciting kind of thing where we all stop and, maybe a town hall somewhere. I don't know. I'm going to work it out where, we show the trophy to the fans and shit like that.
That's really nice that you'd set that up.
I am exhausted. It's so difficult. We got to come up with a parade route. And then I thought to myself, I go, wait, does anybody remember Ferris Bueller's Day Off? There was a parade in that. Maybe we just follow along.
Perfect.
But an exciting, fun game. Gail, you were doing a show last night, so you missed it.
Yes, I missed. Well, luckily, I got to watch a little bit of the beginning. Then I got to go out. I did a really, really fun show with Rich Voss and Bonnie McFarlane at the Village Underground. And then by the time the show was over, everyone ran next door to the Fat Black Pussycat. Mm-hmm. And what we got to see, from the bottom of the 9th and then the extra innings.
Do you know when when the rain happened? I didn't want to listen to Joe Buck, so I just started to play Madden because I'm like, me. I was texting back and forth with a million people. More people texted me last night, and I'm gonna go. Oh, well, maybe it's time for me to see if I can take the Bills to the Super Bowl since I've already done it for so many other teams. And all of a sudden, fucking Johnny just writes, "Here we go." He texts me, "Here we go." I had to go fucking rushing back because what are you doing taking a 17-minute fucking rain?
It was very quick.
Guess what, though? I'm not saying guess what. I'm sure everyone realizes that changed the momentum of the game. The fucking Cubs were able to regain their shit and come back. Cleveland could be world champs.
Yeah, you think that if it wasn't for that rain,
I know it,
the pendulum would have swung the other way.
Well, the pendulum, what is it? A pendulum?
The pendulum?
Pendulum. I can never say that word correctly, though. Pendulum. So it was already swinging. You know what I mean? It was already the Cleveland's thing, and they were going crazy. And if you were a Cubs fan, you're just like, we fucked the duck. You know what I mean? You were so depressed if you were a Cubs fan. I was just a fan of the game itself and enjoying the game and, the heroics on both sides. Johnny was texting me, "This has been scripted, dude." Oh, fuck, no, it's raining. I mean, we were going crazy. And I was hearing from Fezzy, I was hearing from Flats, my dad, people were just, and not one of us had a dog in the fight. You know what I mean? Not one of us was rooting one way other than our personal betting, but there was no, I've been a Cleveland fan, that's just, I felt sorry for the city of Cleveland because there were so many Cub fans there that had just used their money to buy their way in. I mean, I'm sure they got the tickets from, people from Cleveland who could probably use the money more than people from Chicago, So it was kind of, that part of it was like a tin set. They didn't have a home field advantage. Cleveland.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it.
There was 30,000 fucking Cubs fans there because they hung around after the game.
I turned my phone on after the show and immediately looked down, and it was like 200 unread text messages of just you and Chris and Johnny going back and forth. I was like, 200?
Yeah. You got to stay off that thing. What is that called when you do that?
Group text.
You got to stay off that group text because, we're just boring people who don't have real friends.
Yeah. It's funny because it's not even like I could get a sense of the game because you guys, it was like hearing the conversation. It's not like I was was able to check the score. So it'd just be like, oh shit, what? like
Christ.
Like that, back and forth.
It's watching the game with your friends, but you get to keep your robe on. Mm-hmm. That's the whole fucking thing of group text. It's stupid. It's an AOL chat room. It's temporary. But, when people get around, we need to change baseball and speed up baseball. You forget the thing plays out the way it plays out. It's not a national sport until the playoffs. Then everyone pays attention to the other teams. All season long, you focus on your team. I'll find out about the Cubs when they're playing the Phils. I'm not going to sit around and watch a fucking Cubs game for no reason. I heard from Foggy Otis, who says now that he's retired, he watches hundreds of games. Hundreds. But it was just a blast. And, when people are like, oh my God, baseball's such a tense. You're not tense when you're watching a game in June. If you had watched this game in June, you're drinking beers with your friends, you're having a dog, you're talking about the game and a couple other things. If you lose, hey, fuck it. There's still another 101 games to play. We'll be fine. But that same game played in early November, and it's unbelievable tension. It's that thing. And I saw Bill Murray last night, and he said that this is the 28th anniversary of my mom's death today. And, me and my brothers and all Roth talking, we're thinking about her. And Wilbon says, do you think she had something to do with the win? And he goes, no, I definitely don't. But she does. She thinks she helped. And, he said, I'm thinking about my father who's not here, my uncles. And that's baseball. It's a very strange thing. It's a very strange thread of the way you feel about it, I was going back and forth with my pop last night. You're hanging on every pitch. Every single pitch. I don't know why. That game is practically perfect this time of the year. It's practically perfect in spring training for a million different reasons. If I could tell anybody how to have a fun vacation, just go to spring training, go to as many games as you could possibly see during that time. All the different little parks in Florida, and it's just the sweetest, calmest, coolest thing. You watch some kid that's 19 years old and he's trying to make the fucking big leagues. It's an amazing thing, and that kid gets a hit. Even though this game, when you're at home, you're like, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to watch the fucking spring training games. But when you're there and you see some kid and he's like, he might be moving from fucking AA ball to AAA ball, you're thrilled for this guy. Talk about being excited for someone that you've never thought about before. It's an amazing experience to go down and see these kids who are interacting with the greatest of all times. You know what I mean? Like all the guys who, if you're a fucking Yankees fan, you go down there and all the old Yankees are walking around and they're giving batting practice and shit. It's unbelievable. Let's go to some of these Chicago folks. Here's Brian. Brian.
Yeah, actually, I'm a Californian.
Yeah.
I don't care about either team. But last night, I had the chance to be on television myself promoting agriculture. I recorded me and watched the game.
Well, here's the thing. I'm sorry I had you down as being from Chicago.
That's okay.
No, my phone screeners are like playing like a fun punk thing sometimes. It's really great. But you know what? It was really, really a fun night all the way around. And Chris, the North Sider, you got Johnny off your back, and that's the important thing.
That makes me feel so good. I felt horrible when the Cubs were up. And when Indians tied, I wanted to vomit. I was just losing it.
But let me tell you something that happened after the game, and this is pure Chris. He's like, Cleveland is going to burn tonight. It's to burn the whole team. And I'm like, why are you being negative? You're not Donald Trump. Enjoy the win. Enjoy the fucking win. Why are you being mean to the city of Cleveland? And that team played their ass off. They put up, they were in. You don't have a great series without two teams that are just fucking laying it out there. You know what I mean? If you can't, like, I didn't even want to look at the Cleveland players last night because I found it to be, fucking, crushing to look at the losers because, I mean, that was going to be a storybook for them.
Yeah, in any other year, I mean, it's really strange those two teams up against each other. Where any other matchup, they would have been the underdog, the only underdog in this situation.
But you know what's funny? Those kids don't give a shit about the last 100 years or 78 years. Most of those guys are in their 20s,
right?
And they're going, "Oh, you worried about the curse?" They're like, "What curse?
Huh?
My whole life was going great up to this point. Why would you think that I'm cursed?
I'm in the World Series.
I'm a millionaire. Look at this chick I'm with. I mean, everything is great. I'm playing baseball every day. You're talking about, so they never get it, They never understand what they're talking about. Here's Adam. Adam, what's up, buddy?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
I just want to thank Chris Stanley. It took a jinx to break a jinx, so thanks, Stanley.
You're welcome.
That is, Sites, you're calling from Iowa. Always a Cubs fan?
Yeah, always. Since I was a kid, 24, so I've been a Cubs fan because of my dad, so it's great.
I have a buddy from Iowa, and he and his dad are just giant Cubs fan. I'm like, you live in fucking Iowa. But that they consider Chicago their home, their big town,
That's weird. I wouldn't have thought that.
Well, WGN gets out. It's Midwest. It's like Chicago is the capital of the Midwest, the unofficial capital of the Midwest. So when you go to Chicago, in the summer, there's always like people walking around from the Midwest, and they're just, a bunch of fucking just rubes, just fucking corn-eating rubes, and they're just so happy to be in Chicago.
Yeah. Well, I guess a lot of teams do have that thing where you don't have any teams closest to you. I mean, it's no more bizarre than just like the entire, like Northeast going for like New England. Like that's kind of a weird thing.
Well, I mean, the whole South goes for the Braves. There's not a lot of baseball in the South, but also the Cubs had WGN, which used to run those games all the way through, and the Braves had TBS. So those two teams are, if you got a fucking TV and you're a kid and that game shows up, that's who you start to follow,
right?
I mean, I did it with roller derby with the Philadelphia Warriors. When did I know who they were? I always thought they were the good guys. Hey, Garth, Indiana, what's up, buddy?
Guys, this is crazy, man. What a game. What a fucking nutty game. But my Cubs pulled it out. Holy shit. Ron, another addition to the whole Iowa talk is that the AAA team is in Iowa, so, those kids got to go through there. So I think there's a whole lot of history behind.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that goes back, that goes back forever. And if you were a kid growing up in Iowa, you were going to go eventually to Chicago. You wanted to go to Wrigley. It makes, it makes total sense. Again, Chicago is the capital of the Midwest. I don't know how else to put it. What do you think? Kids grow up dreaming of going to Minneapolis? No, that's not going to fucking happen. Here's somebody that I'm so happy to talk to today. Our buddy Janice from Chicago. Janice.
Hooray!
Hooray!
Hooray, Janice!
Hooray for the Chicago Cubs!
Me and you, Janice.
Chicago did it!
the capital of the Midwest.
We're the capital.
Well, it's funny, too, because the joke between me and Mike all the time, every single time I went to Wrigley, it'd go into extra innings, no matter who we were playing. So when it went into extra innings, I lit a cigar. I figured this is the sign that I was waiting for. We're going to win. So cool.
You lit up a cigar, you sat there and said, extra innings, we got this.
Yep.
We got it. It was, so Chicago's just going crazy, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I was watching on TV last night, and it was nuts, the amount of people in the street. It was fantastic.
And it was cool because I went this morning to the sporting goods store to get my father-in-law some shirts. They were open all night.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The parking lot's packed. Holy shit.
Yeah. That's so funny. I'm going to run out and get a shirt today.
And my mother and father-in-law are so tickled because they're like, we really did see it before we died.
Yeah. That's the funny thing. Like, this is something people say, I hope at least once before I die, I get to see this happen. And then it happens, and then you think, am I going to die?
What
When am I dying?
What now?
Is that the final end of this whole thing? The fucking Cubs winning?
They were so happy with Madden because they knew him from Tampa. So
yeah.
Maybe this will happen.
Everybody loves him. He's a great coach. I don't know what the fuck that he was managing with last night. He burnt that kid's arm out.
Taking Hendricks out it's on a 61 pitch count.
It's just it's over managing. But what about called for a fucking bunt on a full count, dude? You just.
When I saw that,
slap the ball. All
right, so
slap the fucking ball.
I'm watching on a stream, so I'm on delay. So when I couldn't look at my phone for like a minute when I saw text message, oh my, and I couldn't. Is it bad or good? I had to wait. Like, oh, god damn it was a bunt.
You watch everything on a little tiny screen.
Isn't it horrifying? These fuckers don't watch movies that way.
I'm Generation Y,
I can't imagine it.
I can't either. My TV can't be big enough. I want it so big. And then I'm still throwing on reading glasses if something pops. What the fuck is that?
I know, I had to keep looking. What inning is it?
Janice, congratulations, honey. And I was thinking about you and Mike last night. I really was. I thought that's just, that's just great. All right, we'll talk to you
so
soon.
much.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I love you.
Bye.
Bye, Janice.
Here's Mark in Chicago. Mark.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
Hey, you're talking about the far-reaching Cub fan base. Yeah. They go all well. A lot of that started in World War II because they played day games when all the other teams were playing the night games. So the guys that were stationed over in Europe, the only baseball they could get were Cubs games. And so when they came back home, they just sort of fell into it.
In the 1980s, I watched a ton of Cubs games because they were on every single afternoon on
GM.
on WGN, which was one of the original cable stations. Like when you thought it was cable, when you first got cable, you got WGN, TBS, and like Showtime.
Nice.
And then that was it.
That was the cable
You're like,
package?
this is fucking great. Oh my God, look at all the channels we got. If I wait long enough, I'll see a tit. But I mean, if you're sitting around in the middle of the afternoon and the fucking Cubs run, you're just like this, what am I going to do? Watch fucking soap opera? So you end up watching a lot of games. Now, unlike a lot of these fucking ham and eggers, I don't go acting like that's my team because I saw them on TV.
No.
You know what I mean? I kept my own team, but I enjoyed Cubs games. I can't be some, no offense to you, Chris, piece of fucking garbage who buys the shirts and hats because they bet on something. It doesn't work that way.
No, those people are pieces of garbage. You're correct. I'm a good person. I'm a true Northside Cubs fan.
You are Zelig, who will fucking try to be a part of whatever situation that you're in.
No, man.
And it's disgusting.
It's not. It's good.
You are a fair weather fan?
No.
I mean, are you forgetting setting a hat ablaze last year?
What about this? He's a fair weather fucking friend as well. He just tries to adapt to whatever fucking situation that he's in.
Yeah, actually,
What's that mean?
I have a perfect example of this.
What?
So
And Vito, I want you to listen close to the story. And who are the interns today?
We have Nick at night.
Have Nick gather around. Have everyone gather around to hear Gail tell this story about Chris.
Now, I'm going to tell this story. Should I mention names of comedians?
I want you to.
In the
I
room?
want you.
All right.
You know what? This is like Russia fucking put out some files.
Okay.
Oh,
so
God.
this is
WikiLeaks. This is WikiLeaks.
This is Gaily Leaks. Ew. That's private.
That's a website we're trying
Everyone
to
subscribe to GailyLeaks.com.
just look at this. You got 500,000 subscribers. Most of them from the Far East.
Okay. So the other day, we're in here, and we've got a couple comedians.
All right.
And Ron steps out of the room because we're at break. So I'm in the room. It's me, Chris Stanley, Kevin Iso, and Noah Gordon Schwartz. Okay, so there's 2 comedians that we had in on Monday, I believe.
Yeah.
So we're in here, and I'm on my phone. I'm not really paying attention. And Noah and Kevin start talking. And they start talking ladies. They're doing boy talk. And they're doing some heavy kind of bro-y kind of dude stuff, talking about hooking up with ladies and blah, blah. Right. I'm not really paying attention. Yeah. I'm letting them do their thing. And so one of them brings up this point, like, you know, the best thing to do is to really hone in on these ladies who are like new to New York because they don't have any friends and they're likely to go home with you because like they're just like, you know, like they're like, I don't know anybody. And like, it's just like, that's who you're looking for. The chicks who are new to New York. And Chris Stanley goes, yeah, man, fish in a barrel. And I look up and I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's no fucking fish in your barrel, dude. You have no idea. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to fucking razz him about this right now. I'm going to save this shit and repeat it later. It was so awful.
What's
it
so
was
wrong
like
about
so
that?
Well,
lame.
here's what's wrong about it, Billy Bush. You ain't doing it. Those guys are out working the scene. We can't get you to date.
Yeah, they're out there. They're like, you know, they're in the clubs at night.
Yeah.
They probably do hook it up with women. And you're sitting there trying to act like you know what the fuck they're
You
talking
never
about.
fucking.
I'm one of the guys too. Yeah, fishing. I always
Fish in
find
a barrel,
that
right?
to be easy too.
Right, boys?
You were never sitting there waiting at the bus station for some fucking young girl to fall off a turnip truck.
Oh, no.
You were just. Here's what you're trying to do. You were just trying to be one of the fellas and accept it.
It was
Is that wrong?
So,
Yeah.
yes, that's the worst, dude. Because you know why?
Why?
Like, because head bro, you're just like, that's who he is. That's the guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's him. The worst is the guy who's like, I'm going to pretend like I'm the bro.
All right, hold
like,
on.
that was awful.
I want to fucking. There's a head bro.
There's like head bro.
I didn't know that. So that you know, 'cause
Alpha bro.
the person whose balls you're licking is fucking
Yeah.
head bro, and then you're just over like Billy Bush.
Yeah, you're
giggling.
the Billy Bush. Being like, yeah, look at the legs on her. And then when that person's like, grab her in the pussy, you're like,
Go for it.
yeah, I would do that too.
God.
Maybe we could grab pussies together
Push the
sometime.
fuck up. Just be yourself. Doesn't matter what you say. If you meant that would be fine.
Why didn't you just chime in and just say, I have a secret Tinder account? So
I don't have a secret Tinder
I
account.
saw you swiping something like a motherfucker.
nobody swipes porn.
No, but everybody wants you to date.
That's not.
You're a
thank
fucking
you, everyone.
handsome man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
You don't have to fucking. You don't have to puppy up to the head, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, when she told me that story, I couldn't have been fucking happier.
I don't
I'm
even.
like, I wish. Then I thought, no, he wouldn't have fucking said that if I was there, because he'd be
No.
looking over and going, like, how's Ron reacting to this? And Vito does that shit too, but he's fucking dumb as dirt and he's young.
Yeah, he gets a pass.
Yeah, you're actually fucking cool. That's the problem. You could be cool. You're so fucking close.
But yeah, that's the thing about Vito. Like
I'll take that as a compliment.
He can blend.
Of course you would, because I'm head bro right now.
He can blend well. Better than Chris can in a crowd. Like, for example, if he's with a bunch of dudes, he'll bro down, but he's also can hang with the ladies and be like, yeah, I know what you mean,
but that
girl.
makes it even worse. That's a fucking Zelig.
Chris is terrible at it.
But I'm going to tell you the difference between Vito and Chris, and I mean this. Fucking Vito would join a gang rape. He fucking would. He would.
You don't think Chris would join a gang? I'm not saying you're wrong.
Anybody.
I don't think he would.
And I'm sick of having to say that.
I don't deny. I think you might be right. Vito might join a gang rape, but definitely so would Chris.
I would.
I don't think so.
I don't want to rape anyone
because Chris doesn't date.
I like consensual sex, not rape.
Well, but what would he definitely wouldn't be like? Hey guys, stop this raping.
Yes, I would fucking say, hey, this is a rape
you
going
wouldn't.
down.
You would
yes, I would definitely stop
like
a rape.
if you didn't join, you'd be in the corner. You'd be like a rape cuck. You're like, no, I don't think I'll participate, but enjoy your rape.
I want to let
Fish in a barrel.
I want to let everyone know, if I saw rape going down, I would do my best to stop it, and I would definitely not join.
Why is this where this went?
Gail brought it up.
Why?
Gail accused me.
No, I said Vito would be a rapist. And that's a given.
But then Gail accused me of being a rapist.
Vito plays up to women and literally hates women at the same time.
You hate women?
I love women. I don't.
Dude, I've heard your fucking bro talk before, and I told you I won't put up with it. I've heard your disgusting, dark bro talk. But he only does that. When he's around his dudes. Then when he's around women, he like basically is like a fucking Sex in the City guy. You know what I mean?
He is.
But that's a lie. That's a predatory lie. He is fucking lying in wait so he can pounce.
Vito, are you in predator mode?
No, I just try to blend into my surroundings.
That's disgusting, though. That's fucking disgusting.
Like a chameleon.
That's why people can't believe the world that they live in. That's why women can't feel fucking safe. And they're forced to vote for Hillary. Because they can't trust men.
You can trust me.
No, you just said you blend into your surroundings. You know who does that?
Rapists.
Thank you. Thank you. That's why we can't have female interns anymore. Because fucking Vito.
Yeah.
Vito's.
I don't think I'm the reason.
Look, you know what? I started this off with baseball talk and I was so fucking happy. And then the two fucking evildoers fucking take over. Trump just said Clinton shouldn't be allowed to run.
It's fucking 5 days out.
I know.
She's been running.
Stephen Knight says, fish in a barrel. It sounds like something a 1950s high schooler would say.
It is true. It is fucking true.
Like, it's just like the most shitty canned response,
I
too.
know.
Like, he's just like, and I'm in the group, too.
Right.
Right, guys?
Fish in the barrel, right?
Yeah, I know when I'm shooting fish in a barrel, it's usually that kind of a lady. What?
Barrel lady.
You know what? We should go out for some painted ladies tonight, guys. Painted ladies.
All right.
I mean, some real low-hanging fruit, you know what I mean?
Fuck.
You disgusting
Let me just
son
ask
of
you
a
that
bitch.
when you did your show last night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did Vito come to it?
Yes, he did.
Of course he did.
Yeah, it was
Of course he
really,
did.
really sweet.
Support my friend.
Really? Because you never come to any of my fucking events, you fucking prick. I had to fucking stab you to death.
And Chris never comes to any of mine.
I had the game 7. I had a.
It's like both of us took one of the twins. We separated them at birth.
We didn't tell them that there was another twin.
It's a parent trap.
I was waiting outside for Gail, pacing on the street corner.
Ugh, disgusting. By the way, did you see the twin thing that Vito sent in this morning? The
No.
two twins?
Mm-mm.
They're like famous YouTube twins now, Vito.
Yeah, like that whole family puts up a bunch of YouTube videos.
So one of the twins, they're just I mean, you know how fucking weird twins are, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the twins found out that the other twin was older. It never occurred to them.
Like barely older because they're
1 minute older. And it just fucking changed her reality. Hey, here's our buddy Hard Rock Johnny. Hey.
Bennington's Gaily Leaks. What's going on?
Yeah, I forgot. That's your thing, Johnny. He's a yellow boy. He's a piss guy.
Oh.
No, I'm yes, and I also voted for Donald Trump. Those are my two things that you always ask me. So, I'd like to get. I'm trying to figure out a way to combine
Well, you're
them.
gonna
I'm not
love
sure how
Gaily Leaks.
Somebody told me that you gave Lauren down the hall $40 to pee on your shoes.
My shoes, they were dirty. I was like, whatever. Well, Chrissy, you're finally out from under.
Got out because of my Cubs. I'm so fucking happy.
Didn't you choose the Indians originally?
He did. He
Cubs,
did.
Yeah.
but I'm a Cubs guy.
You had the Indians, and I talked you into Cubs.
Hey, and I let you go, so it's good. So now you don't owe me anything.
That's right.
Finally.
I believe you owe me $100.
Well, let's do double or nothing on the NFL. Who wins in the Super Bowl?
Oh, I love the idea of that.
Let's let it
But
ride.
I love it.
I'm on the other side now, baby. I'm feeling good.
My choice.
What's your choice? What do you got?
Everybody in the NFL, you get to pick one team.
Oh, bullshit.
Who are you picking, though, just for yourself?
Who I think's going to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
The Patriots. Patriots will
All
win
right,
the Super
so
Bowl.
I get everybody else.
All right, no, here's the thing, though. What kind of odds are you giving him on that, Johnny? He's putting up 100. What are the odds? Patriots.
Patriots, they should be fucking even money.
Well, why don't you look at Vegas right now? I'm sure it's up there.
He's got the field.
Yeah, I know you do. He does have the field.
Come on. Let's make this interesting.
All right, let's see.
Interesting.
Ride, would you let it ride? That's the Chris Stanley. That's your motto.
That took nothing to convince him, by the way.
All right,
2-1.
let's see. Yeah, 2-1. All right, so I'll give you 300 if the Patriots win.
Yum, yum, give me some. That's what I'm talking about.
All right.
Just don't make that noise, please.
No.
You know what he deserves, Stubby? He's really had a good time. Yeah. He's on top of the world, and we caught him in that fucking weird lie.
Oh, this feels good to have action again. It's been like 9 hours.
You had no purpose in life for 9 hours.
It's finally something to look forward to.
Johnny, great series, though, right? A lot of fun.
Absolutely. It was, it was good baseball. I won't say it was good baseball, but it was definitely good to watch. There was some, I'm telling you, man, Madden, if they didn't win, man, he would have been just crucified.
I was crucifying him even in his victory.
I don't
in
even,
his victory, I still fucking was embarrassed for him.
I wonder if he would get fired after how poorly he managed that last 2 games, And that rain delay was so bizarre. It didn't even look like it fucking rained. They just brought the tarp out and they're like, okay.
Dude, I'm telling you,
now.
So we were like, oh, this big rain is coming in, they're saying. So we're like, they're not going to play this out at 3 o'clock. They're going to do it tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. That would have been kind of crazy and exciting. But, and then Johnny's like, here we go. And I'm like, what? I wasn't even fucking paying attention. I'm sitting there like, I can't believe how good the Bills are when I'm fucking quarterback of this team. All right, Johnny. Talk to you soon, my friend. Bye.
Later.
We got to get everything together with Johnny's big party, too, that he's having for us.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who this person's name is. Is it Dirt? Clint?
Hey, Mr. Bennington.
Hey, what's up?
It was a great game last night, but was it as exciting as Game 6 in 1993?
Oh, you know something, dude? I mean, the meanness of some people. I mean, that's just cruelty. As you know, there was no fucking playoffs, and they went as far. 1993 was an amazing year. They had the fucking pennant race, and the Phils win the fucking pennant. And I love those guys. I loved every fucking guy on that team. And then they go, oh, because of what's happened with the war in Iraq and, Clinton and the scandals, no World Series. And I'm like, no fucking World Series? And they just said no. Just be happy. You're the National League champions. Let's not even go on from there. And it always bothered me that they never got the opportunity, you know?
That's a shame.
I feel bad for that, you know? And I got this thing that I think everyone's ready to play it now. I mean, I know Crucky's gotten a little bigger, you know what I mean?
He's still got the
I
swing,
know
though.
Dutch has had his problems, and Dykstra, I'm not even going to start talking about nails. But what are you going to do? I mean, you play it, you know, now that the guys are in their late 40s, 50s.
Happens.
It happens. That old Wild thing, you know, has been through his own fucking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just wouldn't let him play that year. It's weird.
That is really strange. Highly unusual.
Yeah, well, you know what? Life's unusual, I like to say. You know?
You do always say it.
I always say this. It's the big show, you know? Life's so weird. They ought to sell tickets. I say, give me 2 on the aisle. I'll fucking start watching Life right now. I want to be on the aisle. Okay, so I'm going to get up. I don't like to walk through a bunch of people.
It's annoying.
And I don't like people walking through me.
You don't like that?
No. I try to put my legs out. And I'll go like this, war wound. Sometimes I'll be sitting in the fucking thing and somebody will go, hey, I have a problem. Can I have your aisle seat? And I'll go like this. Not with this leg, and I'll just put out stiff fucking leg. I go, look at it.
Doesn't bend?
Not in the last couple seconds it has. Look at that. I got to keep it straight out.
Shit.
That's when I fucking hit the regime or some shit. One of those big fucking battles. You're going out to a big show tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see Bridget Everett is doing a show for the New York Comedy Festival.
Is she gonna be at Joe's Pub?
Yeah. I think it is at Joe's Pub. Actually, I have to check the tickets because it was just sent to me. I think it is at Joe's Pub.
Joe's Pub is where she normally plays. Chris is checking.
Actually, no, it's not. It's Town Hall, I think.
Whoa!
Yeah,
That's
Town
a nice.
Hall.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun one. I'm very excited because...
Have you been to Town Hall?
I have been to Town Hall before.
Love it.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool venue.
Oh, I remember when you went to Tenacious D.
I saw Tenacious D there. And a very young Jimmy Fallon.
Jim Fallon.
Opened for them and did his acoustic guitar, and I do impressions of Neil Young. He was doing that same kind of bit.
Oh, to go to a town hall. And you're like, okay, you're trying to do it tonight. Tenacious D's coming out later on. You're like, okay. You do sound like Neil Young. Now, did you guys see Nate Bargatze last night? I taped it.
Yes.
Oh, well, I was doing the show, so I didn't get a chance to see it.
All right, it's up on the iBank today. But, Chris, see if you can go find it and see if the intro is on it from Jimmy. Because, no?
No, I'll look elsewhere.
The funny thing is the way Jimmy Fallon says he'll be appearing at the stand. It fucking made me laugh, and I kept, going back to watch it over and over. But Jimmy is apparently is the one who found Nate at the stand and said, I want this guy. But last night they're like, he's a regular on the Tonight Show. That's what they're called, Nate. He's a regular.
Oh, that's
very
very
nice
cool.
thing. Yeah,
that's awesome. Was it cool to see his set after having seen it previously?
Yeah. It was really, really fun. He holds the record for stand-up performances on the Fallon Show. I don't know if that's a record, but you can't. Did you find it, Chris?
It's just the commercials playing, and then it's going to show up.
Okay, good. Just maybe I'm making too big of a thing out of this. I kind of feel like I am making too big.
No, I don't think you are.
But
I can't wait for this. It's going to blow me away.
I'd say that's where
I mean, it's fish in a barrel with this one.
That's where I don't want to be.
Anything less than amazing, I'll be disappointed.
It's just a quirky moment. It just made me laugh. That's all.
90 seconds.
90 seconds what?
Until the video plays.
Why would there be 90 seconds?
So what TV networks do now, if you skip forward say there's a full episode of a show on, and you skip forward, so let's say the last 10 minutes, they'll load all the commercials that you were skipping by at the end.
This is why I own a TV and not fucking try to view everything on my phone the way you do.
I live a streaming life, Ron.
That isn't fucking streaming, dude. If you're watching every commercial back to back.
It's new. They've just recently been doing this.
I don't give a fuck whether it's new. It exists. It exists already.
50 seconds.
Oh, to go open for Tenacious D. I just saw them in the green room. This is a parody? Is it a parody or something? I'm going out and doing something at the stand tonight with Big J.
Nice. That's gonna be fun.
It's we're mashing up.
You guys love to mash up together.
It's never my idea. It's always Jay. There's a couple of people, Jay, Robert Kelly, Christine, and Voss and Bonnie that are dragging me into live performing. But a mashup is where you mash up your material and do them together. You do it back and forth. So two comedians go out. So Jay and I will be mashing up Jay's jokes. All right, so this is it. I hope it's well worth the wait. So Nate Bargatze is on the Tonight Show, and like immediately, like last night, I hope we tweeted out. I sent the thing, tweet out, "Hey, during the rain delay, catch Nate Bargatze." I hope that worked. I hope that went on ours. Did it go in the Bennington account? Do you know, Chris?
I'll check, but I believe it did.
Sometimes the iBank steals it. All right, take a listen to this.
You can see him this week during the New York Comedy Festival, as well as The Stand this Saturday. Everyone, please welcome
The Stand.
The Stand.
He's talking like that to me, Fallon.
He's like, I'm really gonna really play up this Stand thing.
The Stand. Hey everyone, he's gonna be at the Stand.
He's going to be at The Stand.
It's like he just saw the word "the stand" for the first time in his life.
It's like when you're really high and you're like, stand. Stand. What? How do you say it?
Have you ever even done that to someone else where you're going, "Did you just say stand?" And you're like, and the other person's like, "Wait, did I? I don't know. I didn't mean to."
You did.
How's high ever good? You know what I mean?
It always fucks everything up.
Yeah, it does. And then
It makes
it takes life and makes it uncomfortable.
you think it'll make an experience better, but most of the time, fucking shit, things get fucked up. And there's the possibility of just the full on bad trip, the bad high.
Now there is a friend of ours who's always high now since the edibles. Always. I don't want to say who it is because,
Sure,
that's her business. What I did was change the gender to throw off people. But
I was thrown off.
I'm just noticing, like, every time I see this person, I'm in a conversation, they're high, no matter when it is. Ever, because of the edibles.
Look,
the vaping and the edibles.
I got into the vaping and the edibles for like 6 months. Like, I didn't smoke weed regularly for a little while, but then I got into that, and I was like, I'm just fucking high all the time. I can't do this. Because the vaporizer lets you just vape wherever you want. I was vaping in Modell's. I was buying sweatpants and vaping. I'm in like a shitty Chinese restaurant.
Specific.
I'm fucking vaping. I was vaping everywhere in the street. Didn't matter where I was fucking vaping. And then I'd wake up and eat edibles. So I was all fucking whacked out all the time.
Dude, do you realize how close you are to being in a meeting right now? You're doing good. Tell your fucking story. This is good.
I like that shout out to Modell's though. That's like the first one he mentioned. He's like, I'm vaping in Modell's and other places I go. Huh?
Like Chinese restaurants and Modell's.
You're fucking weird, dude.
Yeah, he is.
Well, how? How am I weird? People go to Modell's. That's a store people go to.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Good work, Nick, at night.
Nick, grab a seat over here, would you? I just want to tell you something straight up. Hey, there's Rich Voss. You're doing a bang-up job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Are you getting to do all the things that you want to do?
Oh, yeah. I've learned so much. Actually, when I help them produce their show, Big Brother and Holding Company, I do the board for them now.
Whoa!
That is so cool.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Nick at Night executive producer of Big Brother and the Holding Company.
Did you give him a shout out for that?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Check out at terrorbang.com.
All right. Maybe he's ready to produce one of my shows, like GPS or what. I'll just remember when I tried to give Vito stuff to do, And I'm like, you can have your own separate shows, and you don't have to be under Chris. And then Vito said to me, that would mean I would have to move. I go, what? God. Go to another home? He goes, no, move my body. I like it when Chris does it. So maybe you leapfrog. I'll lay out all the different shows, GPS, the shows we do in volume, and maybe give you one. Which one do you think he would be perfect for?
I think that he would be good for, I'm going to say the icons.
Icons on GPS. All right, what I want you to do, Vito, is assist him the way that you do Chris. That is, not get involved at all. What does he do for you?
Vito, well, now he's handling all guests. He's now taking care of that. And then he also he does the post-show loading. He supervises that.
Low boy.
There's a little low boy action, yeah.
Because I thought I gave that to Dan.
Disco Dan is taking that over again.
God, I can't have a conversation with anyone. It goes this job. Hey, Rich Voss is here. Let's bring him in and do the show. Want to break first, Chris?
Let's break first.
Break, and we're back. Mr. Rich Voss. Welcome back to the Bennington Show. Gail, a fine and much respected comedic guest is here today.
Yes, Mr. Rich Voss, my favorite. Rich's new album 5 is available now on iTunes, and the My Wife Hates Me podcast is available on iTunes and on riotcast.com, and you can follow him at Rich Voss.
You can also get the new CD or whatever on Amazon, iTunes. I really wanted to go on iTunes. Here's the deal with this.
Okay.
For the last 2 weeks, I've been doing nothing but press. Today, I'm done. Like after today, I'm done. Last week I did 13 phoners in one day, or then in studio in Philly here, and this week in studio 3. After today, I'm done. I'm back to, let's just, you know what I mean?
You're just going to be a person from this point on.
Yes. But here's what happened. Friday was number 1. Went to number 1. And now it dropped to 4. I have to get it to number 1 again. Mm-hmm. And I think between you and the next show I do, you have enough fans. 1, because out of my last 3 or all 5 CDs, this is the best. People. So I have to get it to 1. Take another picture and move on. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you ever feel that way?
No, I don't get that way. It just does. I don't care.
Well, it's not about money. Mm-hmm. It's about number 1.
Yeah, you want to be number 1.
Well, because there's one guy who's number 1. I don't know him. He's probably hilarious and the nicest guy, But sometimes you got to humble people.
So you're doing it to help him.
That's nice of you.
Well, yes, I'm trying to push him to number 2 to teach. Rich Voss,
if you wanted to be number 1, why call your album 5?
Because that's my 5th album.
But see, here's the thing. It seems like it would be best if you got to number 5. 5 at 5.
It
will go to 5. Yeah. Okay, because it's at 4. But the 5 also stands for Voss, the V for Voss.
V for Voss.
It's a very good, Big J came up with the idea for the album cover. I was going to call it Legend, because I am. And
it looks like a Batman cover.
Yeah.
It looks like a Batman poster.
It's got a very cool look.
Very pretty.
I don't know who you submitted to.
Yeah.
So you could be in the runnings for a Grammy.
Yeah.
But this is Grammy quality.
You know what? Want me to check? Because I'm sure Jack Vaughn knows. I think Barry Katz is coming in a little bit too, and you know how he knows how to manipulate the business.
Barry Katz will submit this for a Grammy, and all of a sudden it'll be his CD.
Right.
He'll turn it into the Barry Katz Rich Voss 5 CD. So, okay, let me tell you, you had a great Unmasked with Barry. I listened to it. It was great. Okay? And that was the good side of Barry. Barry will, if he walks in this room and touches that, he has ownership.
All right. I think he's going to be by in about 25 minutes. Let's see if he comes in and tries to manipulate and take over your success of 5.
Somehow. I mean, we got to somehow plant the seed and go, hey, I don't have a distributor. No, I don't have I just made this. Who can I get to own or sell it for me?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, get a represent. Yeah.
I need someone to represent this CD because it's so good.
And you think he'll like magically his name will come across the top of it.
come across the top.
We'll watch it as it writes across the top of it.
First of all, let me say this: you did our show the other night. You were hysterical. Gail went and did a show with you and Bonnie. She raved to me about how funny
it was.
You guys
so much
were. What
fun.
a great night! But I noticed that there's a thing where people can't leave alone the fact that you wear a hat. I don't understand why a man can't comfortably wear a hat without people bringing it up all the time.
But I got nice hats too.
You have
look
great hats.
First of all, you look great in that hat.
Yeah.
One, you look like an artist in that hat.
Thank you.
It makes. I'm telling you, I'm surprised you don't have an easel in front of you.
Right. Thank you.
Not only your verbal artwork, I could see, but it's a good hat. My hats. One, I don't have one. I buy 5 of everything or 6 because I like them in different colors, and that's a good look for me.
Perfect
I think.
look. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Let's. You know what? We can do a little now for you guys.
Yeah. Do a hat. Do like a little hat modeling.
Because I've always been very pro headwear in general.
You wore a hat the other night, and Bobby said that you and.
No, I said
it. He said it. He turned on his own.
What did you say?
Does she looks like a pretty boy George?
Oh yeah, that happened. But then later, Bobby goes, "You two look like you went to the shit hat store."
What's wrong with this hat?
Yeah,
it's
men
a
wear
fucking great hat.
That's a great hat.
Is it a good look?
It's a fantastic look.
Yeah. So who? You know what it is? Because these low budget comics that can't afford. You know, they're on a tight budget. They don't have a CD, 5 CDs. So they're not going to go out and spend $50 or $250 on 5 hats to, this is, when you see me on stage like this, you're going not only comic, part rock star.
Oh, I agree 100%. Now, I was reading an article on you, and this is actually one of my favorite things that you've ever been written about you. About bad gigs that you did. It was up on the Interrobang. And this is something that I didn't know that you started off as a prop comic.
Well, I only lasted maybe a month or 2 doing that. I didn't know what to do.
Right.
I didn't know. And I was so, you don't have any pictures, I hope.
No.
Because I went to see comedy. And I saw comics, and I saw Lenny Schultz. I go, well, that looks easy.
More pigs, Lenny.
That looks easy. So I just put these dumb things together. The worst, I would put my hands up my shirt like this. So this big doll, I cut off the arms. So they had these little hands, and my hands are up my sleeves, but I'm holding the arms. So all you see is these little hands coming out of my sleeves. Mm-hmm. And I come on stage and go, hey, a big hand for the other comic. It was so bad. I go, hey, I'm not too good at handball. Whatever. It was so horrific, right?
Now, by the way, SNL has a major character a couple years ago based on that. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah. Is that right to do? And she has like the little plastic
she had the tiny
hands.
little hands. She did that thing. And they made $1 million fucking bucks on one weekend.
Well, I can tell you a couple things I started. I should be a millionaire from.
Okay.
Then when I stopped props, I did stand up. I also didn't mention this. I did a Mel Go-Go bit, right? And I used to play the song. I used to bring my boombox and play the song "So Many Men." But I would do but this is how I would just tell me this didn't look like the Mel Go-Go. Hold on.
So here he goes.
I know this is radio.
All right, we're gonna find the song for you too and play it.
Wait, you got So Many Men?
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. All right, and then this is right to the front
That's really fucking funny.
And then I would take my shirt off and I'd stand on tables. So many, right? And I was like, and I would get a lot of tips.
Yeah.
Right? And I was a drug addict. And, right? And it was horrific. Like the headliners are going, is the middle act dancing with his shirt on?
Yeah.
Right?
That's so fucking funny, though.
So, it's in comedy, and I want to get back at some point to talk about your show and our show last night, which were. Sure. I'm not telling you to run your show. I'm just saying these are things. In comedy, it takes you. It at least took me a while to find my voice. who I was. You know, I remember going on stage. I used to work the comic strip in Fort Lauderdale all the time. I go through, they had a piano. There was times I would just sit on the top of the piano and do my set like I would Cher singing, you know, Gypsy Tramps and Thieves or something. You know, what the fuck is this guy sitting on a piano for, to jerk off? You know, and I had those pants that you would wear in the gym that were like they were
breakaway pants?
No, they were baggy pants. They looked like parachute pants, but they had all these different designs.
The
Zubaz pants.
I guess, I don't know. But some company gave me like 10 of them. So I wear them on stage, and I had this long hair, horrible teeth. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I was getting a lot of pussy, because girls back then, like those. Yeah, those were, So, you know, I remember at one point in my career, I would come out on stage, because, and you didn't know, I wasn't stealing, but I was subconsciously doing other people.
Right.
So I'd come out on stage deadpan, like real dead, and I would do like deadpan jokes. Like, I remember, I'll tell you something, like, I bought a wood stove. I only got to use it once. If you're riding in a cab and the driver goes in reverse, does he owe you money? Do red ants get mad when their daughters go out with black ants?
Yeah.
Do Eskimos put their money in snowbanks?
So you're like a kind of a Stephen Wright guy?
Yes. But I would start off and do like 5 or 6. Then I would break into my fucking horrific material. Okay. Right?
So you're doing like 8 different acts.
Yeah. And then, you know, but I always did well at crowd work.
Yeah.
For some reason, because
you're funny.
Well, at the street, that's how we grew up. You know, just fucking trashing each other in my neighborhood. So, and there was a phase in my career, I was running around the stage like I was Robin Williams. You know, like there was a ladder somewhere, and I brought it on the stage, and I stood on the. What am I going to do with this? Hey, look, a ladder! You know,
climbing a ladder, folks. This is nuts.
Yeah, I'm running.
You're here for an exciting moment.
So I'm going, who the fuck? What am I fucking doing? You know, at the time, I thought it was the right thing. You know.
Well, I remember that you brought up ladder when we were up in Montreal, and that wave came in the J show. They brought a ladder out. They just started fucking, and everyone was just staring at them. And they thought jumping off a ladder on top of each other would be funny. And they're just staring.
How can you not make a ladder funny? Yeah. You know, a lot of firemen get in the fire business because of ladders, because how much fun they can have with ladders.
Sure. You kidding me? I was.
What are you kidding me? We have ladders all over our house. So you find, I'm still really looking for my real voice in comedy. What I want to do. And I have done it a lot. In the last, 10 years or my last 3 CDs, I am very personal on stage. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do tell a lot of stories that are, you know, true. Kids, recovery, divorce, and, you know, stuff, and how it relates to me. A lot of these topics are not, you know, these topics have been done, but you make it about you.
Right.
So it's original, and you do it in your voice. So it takes, but even after this CD, I want to get into it. Look, I've done crowd work as well as anybody, I think. I think Big J is great at crowd work.
And totally different than you. You guys come at it from a whole different angle.
Jimmy Brogan was great. Belzer at one time was good. You know, there's certain great crowd work comics. Patrice was great at crowd work. And I know I could do it. And I know the material that I write, a lot of it's personal, a lot of it is good material. But I want to get to a level where now I'm really is getting as honest as I can. This is for me. And Bonnie doesn't agree. Bonnie doesn't agree you don't have to be honest as a comic. You have to be funny. Like Jeselnik is not honest, but he's as great as anybody you want to listen to. To me, Stanhope is honest. You know what I mean? So it's different levels. So I want to, I guess, maybe talk more about, you know, suffering through anxiety in life. You know, just... You know, the parents' divorce and this, you know, just my life. The more you talk, I love when I see a comic, or I think when an audience, for me, sees a comic, like especially like Colin Quinn or someone, when you leave, you know who that person is. I mean, there's a difference. When you leave a Brian Regan show, you're going, this is the funniest man alive. what do you know about Brian Regan? Except that he's a great comic. Same with Gaffigan. Great comic.
The same way. We don't really know.
You don't
Carlin
know.
even. Carlin, I don't think.
Yeah.
You know?
But they're great at what they do. But then if you leave Colin's show or Patrice or Billy, you know what I mean?
No, I get it, but I don't know how much I even buy into honesty. Because people have a way of creating themselves as either the hero or the villain, and I don't know whether anyone's memory can even be trusted from a story, you know?
Well, no, but I could take a story like when I was, and I've told this story, when I was young, you know, I grew up in a black neighborhood, we all used to we took these bus trips, and this is the summer that I got picked on. You know, every summer someone they picked, and, I was the skinny, weak. So we all went to Rawway Pool, and it was all black pool. You know, I think I was the only white guy there. So everybody on the bus was saying, we're going off the high dive. Everybody's going off the high. So it's coming to the end of the day, and Reggie, who was a gigantic guy, and me were the only ones that didn't go off the high dive. And in my head, I'm going, please, God, please, Reggie, don't go off this high dive, because I know I'm not. Please, Reggie, don't. All of a sudden, Reggie's going off the high dive. So it's me now. It's me.
The only one.
So this pool is full. You know, I walk up the high dive, and then I stop, and these two big gigantic guys go, keep going. And I get up on the high dive, and the whole pool stops and look, jump, and I turn around and I walk back down, and it destroyed me for life. It destroyed, you know, it just forget. Okay, so it just my life. Why didn't I go off the fucking high dive? Maybe I would have been somebody. Maybe I would have had a CEO at Apple if I went. So I was doing a gig. Years later, obviously, I'm doing a gig. It was outdoors. Yeah. And there was a big pool. It was like some kind of whatever. Chairs were set up, and I stood there and I looked at. There was a high dive, and I go, you know what? Fuck this. To close my show, I took my pants off of my underwear, and I ran and I jumped off the high dive, and I finally did it. So that's a true story.
Now, did you tell the story first to the audience?
Yeah, I didn't go off the high dive, and they didn't know what black people were. So it was a pool, you know. Right. So a story like that is as true as you could, you know. It's,
right.
I just got to make it funny if I tell a story like that on stage, which is harder in a comedy club because people they want to hear boom, boom,
they want to
boom.
they want to be entertained.
They want to be, you know, I guess there's comics out there telling stories. I just want to tell more stories that are
Here's
funny.
the thing. I mean, when you're a kid like that and you're the only white kid and you're at the pool with all the black kids, did they make fun of you because you could swim?
It was hilarious. I know. It was
what are you, look at him? Look at him on top of the water. Off he goes.
Not bobbing like little. No, forget it. It would have been too racist.
Yeah, it was. Good. I'm glad.
I stopped. I know where to draw the line. Rich Voss learned where to draw the line. So anyhow, that's the kind of.
That's where you want to go with
this. Think it kind of. Well, just at least tried. It's better. I love when I'm doing comedy, like sitting in a room with 40 people and a small thing. I've done some places, whatever, and you could just sit on a stool and talk and get into a story. Yeah, I know I'm going to be funny one way or another. I know it. I've been doing it too fucking long not to. You know you're going to kill on me. You know it. You know. So what's the next level that's going to make me happy or feel more creative?
Well, I think, you know. First of all, I don't even think that you even have to struggle with it. I think you have earned the right to go off and do any type of comedy you want to do.
Thank you. Yeah.
And, you know, if you said, hey, I just want to draw things and have people guess what's funny about the drawing, I would go, oh, yeah, all right, go. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, I mean, you've done everything that could have been asked of you as far as being a professional. I think some of the stuff that you and Bonnie are doing, like you came and worked with us the other night in that weird show, and then you guys had a weird show, and Gail was part of it. I think that is a bigger leap ahead of what's happening in the clubs than anything I've seen in years. You know?
100%. First of all, your show was so fucking fun. When you get me, Bobby, and Bonnie together, it's just. And Sully was great too.
He was unbelievable.
And don't get me, he was great, but. Because I couldn't even imagine how he felt being with us three. You know, he's not a mean guy, we have hatred running through our blood. So, and I was, I did that show that night. I'm driving home. I even called Deborah yesterday. I go, did I talk too much?
No, man. I took the night off because I've got this cold.
Yeah.
So you guys just like rolled with it. It was great.
Yeah, but you never know it. Like, because Bonnie's different. Bonnie just swoops in and does stabs you and runs back. Okay? Me and Bobby are like fucking machine guns. What sticks? What's going to stick?
This is the funniest thing maybe that I ever saw in my life. And you couldn't explain it because Bonnie pantomimed this thing of being underneath your penis. And her face and the way she did that. I mean, it was
fucking
the
funny.
funniest shit. And I didn't even have an opportunity to say, I don't even know why. That was like fucking, cinematic.
Yeah.
Funny. I mean, it was amazing.
Well, that's my bit.
Yeah.
And that's a true story.
Yeah.
That's a true fucking story. I mean, it's dirty when Bonnie said, can I say the bit?
Yeah.
But Bonnie was, performing oral, and she said, come in my face. And I said, the only way that could possibly happen is if you lay completely under me, because I'm a dripper, not a shooter.
Yeah.
Okay? Or unless I come in my hand and I wipe it on you,
Yeah.
is how I'm going to come in your
Now, is it because you had a vasectomy?
Huh?
Is it because you had a vasectomy?
No, it's because I'm old and I jerked off so much and I took all the spring action out of my dick. Okay, are you kidding me? I've been through more fucking there's no spring action. My socks are worn out. Every fucking thing. Okay, I jerked off last night in a hotel, and I couldn't just leave the cloth on the bathroom floor because the maid's gonna go, oh, like this is jerk off cloth. So I had to wash that out and wash out another one and put them together like he's always washing his face. So, but
That was nice of you.
It was nice.
I don't want the maid to come in and go jerk off cloth.
Why is this hard cloth sitting here on the floor?
She's just, no, it's not.
What is this?
And so, but Bonnie, when she does tells the story and she does it like you said, it's so fucking
It's fucking
funny.
amazing.
It's when Bobby. Here's one line I'll give away. I don't know when Bobby said when the Asian guy came up and Bobby goes blink. I fucking almost felt he just said blink.
Fucking hilarious.
Fucking Bobby, it's goddamn.
There was a guy sitting in the front row, and he started talking to the next table, and I'm like, "You guys okay?" And he's like, "No, I was just reminding him." He goes, I've listened to this show before the radio, but it's so much funnier being here. It's because a lot of people go for visual jokes and we don't go, oh, let's explain it to the people at home. Because you stay in the moment. Some jokes are missed. I can't fucking help it. It's a funny, funny night.
That girl that came up with the fur on her coat was so I think she was the best at all right, I'm going to at least fucking try to fuck with these guys.
I'm going to go for it.
I'm going to go for it.
She was fearless.
Like am I allowed to say the last comic? I don't want to say his name, so it's a surprise.
It's Earl.
Okay. Well, it's not a surprise. Well, I guess everybody knows because of Twitter.
Twitter.
Does he want to do comedy, or did you guys just get him to do it?
No, we thought it'd be fun to have him just come out and shock everybody at the end of that. And it really was fucking shocking and funny, and it was a great moment.
Well, Bonnie gets so mad because we're going home. She goes, I just felt bad for him because there was so much race stuff. I'm going, stop. We went after the Asian guy, too. I go, it's kind of, she's so fucking Canadian and left-wing, and she's a comic. I felt bad. I go, everybody knows him. He doesn't even know what's going on. Leave him alone. There was a couple racial jokes, but of course there's going to be.
He's built his career on racial jokes. He fucking loves it. He calls himself Black Earl.
Yeah, I attacked. There was a Jewish guy. I think I said you couldn't be any more fucking Jewy or whatever. The guy, you know what I mean. So that's it's a It's
you
basically
worry too much.
And you would never guess that about you guys because you're killers.
No, I don't. It's just when Bonnie says, "Oh, I think that was a little mean," or we were doing the roast battle at the stand.
Yeah.
And this black guy came out and he was super black tone and he's wearing a bright yellow shirt. So I said to her, I go, you look like a bruised banana. And fucking Bonnie Like, why were you so mean to him? Because that's what we're supposed to do. You know, I talked to all the comics after it. I went outside and I go, look, none of this is personal. Do not let this deter you from doing what you want to do. Of
course.
You know,
I talked to every one of those kids. They're all coming in too, but when we run the show. But they were fucking, for them to have you guys paying attention to them and bust them both, they loved it.
They had a
It's
blast.
hilarious. When we bent him over the stool, you know.
I'm like, I can't believe I've been such a fan of this guy, and now I'm getting banged in the ass.
Yeah,
but you know what's funny too, and I told this to Norton the last time I talked to him. There's so many young comedians who were introduced to comedy through Tough Crowd.
Yes,
right. So as you know, it's hard for me to believe because I know all you guys, and you know the way that you treat each other is going on forever. But they were like little kids watching that and being like, "Oh my God, this place exists! I want to get to a place where me and my friends are just roughhousing like this."
Mm-hmm.
Even at the time, did you think somebody would look to that and go, "Oh, maybe we can do that kind of shit someday"?
Well, no, because that was natural for us. That was us sitting at the Comedy Cellar. Now we're doing it on TV. I mean, when you got me, Patrice, Keith, Norton, what do you call it? You know, that was, besides talking politics, you know, we would just fucking attack each other. Me, at the end of the night, me, Patrice, Keith, and Norton would stand outside, sometimes till 3 or 4 in the morning, just smashing each other. People were in their apartments yelling, "Shut up." So that show would but I didn't think it left such an impact on New York comics,
right?
You know, on you know how brutal and funny we can be, you know, and it's like you said, so many guys go, I watch you guys on Tough Crowd, I watch you on Tough Crowd, and I guess it paved the way for a certain type of comedy, maybe, or a certain type of mind. Obviously Rickles and different comics were doing that to people in the audience. But, you know, but it was an act.
Yeah.
This was friends. I mean, we would tear apart, you know, fucking Billy Burr. I mean, beat him down, you know, for certain things. He said he came in, I've told the story, he came in and goes, "Yeah, I'm going to the World Series, Mets versus Yankees. I'm going to the game." We go, "Get out, how'd you get tickets?" He goes, "Well, these guys hired me to do a show on their bus trip." And once he said that, everybody's eyes lit up. We did 45 minutes. We would go like, what? I think Patrice did this. He goes, this is visual, folks, but he goes, "Hey, you guys were great." And he's walking off a bus, right? Right. So Billy sat at the bar at the Cellar. Sweat was pouring down his fucking face. You know, I came in, I just had a little fever sore, a little cold sore on my lip. They were all clapping for us. Has herpes. Now Kevin Hart's in part of, you know, now Kevin Hart's with the crew because he just came in and he was just as brutal as the next guy, and he was a new comic. He was new. You know, we would beat him down, but he was just as, you know, so it was just us having fun, being friends, and then Tough Crowd, you know, came along and was, to me, the best television experience I ever had. When that show got canceled, it felt like I was getting divorced.
Yeah, I was shocked, and I was also shocked to the fact of, you know, when you bring up politics, they still to this day never have had a funny right wing thing, and a lot of the guys that on that show were, you know, conservative and hysterically funny.
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy that somebody hasn't came in and picked them up, because it would help the other side that always comes across as so unfunny all the time.
Well, I mean, they try with like Red Eye put comics on, and
that's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's fucking harmless.
Yeah, I know, and the comics don't get paid, so I'm done with that. cameramen get paid, not the comics. It's news. It's not news. I'm writing jokes. News is what's going on fucking CNBC and not your other shows. Okay, you want news? Here's some news. Pay me. Anyhow, you're right. They try to do it somewhere, but they don't give it a chance because. But you can lean it towards the right. And still
be hilarious.
But you're going to have
a funny.
Look, I've watched Bill Maher's show, and it's so stacked. It's so stacked again. They'll put on 3 of the most brilliant liberals on the planet, and then they'll put on some fucking right wing fucking ice cream truck owner.
Well, Hannity used to do that with his partner, right? Hannity
Combs.
Bring him out, just fucking back him around.
He couldn't have been more like
It was like the fucking jobbers that used to work wrestling. Are we bringing him in now, Chris, or
he's coming down the hall? Yes.
A break. Barry Katz is coming in.
Oh.
And we're gonna get. By the way, let's plug this again.
Folks, go ahead.
His new album 5. It's available on iTunes and on Amazon, and of course, the My Wife Hates Me podcast is also available on iTunes and riotcast.com.
This week's My Wife Hates Me is at a whole nother level of hatred.
Really?
Some therapist wrote in evaluating me, saying that I'm a narcissist, which I am, but everybody in the entertainment business is a fucking narcissist.
But not on your level.
Okay. Yes, but I got good stories.
Yeah, that's true.
Are you not?
True.
Are you guys kicking me out before Barry comes in?
Hang.
Oh, okay.
If you want.
I could listen. This is, huh?
I know you're doing a lot of stuff.
No, I'm not. Listen, I'm good.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? When I get a chance to come in, Gail was fucking great last night.
Is that right?
Gail, listen to me. I don't want to say this because I have daughters.
Yeah.
Thank God she said no to everybody. That's all I'm saying. You got to be proud of your daughter.
I am so happy to hear that.
I'm a good girl.
She said, I can't, and there were some funny, good-looking guys.
Yeah.
And Gail said, you know what? I have a boyfriend. I have a reputation to uphold.
That's good.
I have an outstanding, terrific dad who raised me the right way.
Isn't that sweet?
So I
got a lot of applause breaks.
That's
so
good.
That's
you know
good.
why? Because doing the right thing feels right.
You know what I mean? And the thing is, just because it's a show, you don't have to sit there and go, yeah, I'll do you because you like eating a girl out when she's on the rag. Or, stuff like that. That's gross.
That's
I don't want you to.
You don't need to.
I know.
Funny's funny.
I don't want you to be like the slave owner because you're black and I'm the slave and stuff. You don't need that kind of stuff.
That's not good girl stuff.
But she was the best, the most. You know what it was? People left laughing and they also left respecting.
Really?
Respecting her.
Good.
I'm so glad
that
that came across.
That might be something that young people can listen to. Then
she's a role model.
Good, I love
she's
it.
a role model.
I love that.
I'm telling you.
Barry Katz is here, Chris.
Yeah, Barry Katz is here. He'll be interviewing Gary Goldman Saturday, November 5th.
Oh, I want to go to that.
For the Industry Standard Podcast, and the Gaffigans, Jim and Jeannie Gaffigans, Sunday, November 6th for the Industry Standard Podcast. That's available on iTunes to download, and go to NewYorkComedyFestival.com for tickets.
Let's bring them in. Barry Katz, good to see you, buddy.
All right.
First time we've seen each other since Montreal, and that was a fantastic conversation that we had.
You were amazing there. I get so much feedback from that.
I'm glad to, we were just talking because, I don't know whether you're aware of this, Rich Voss has out an album, 5.
Yeah, my new CD.
It's a CD.
And
you say you're just having trouble getting it out there, and how do you get a Grammy?
Know, how do I get somebody to distribute it or take ownership? Like, you know what I mean?
I've never heard Rich Voss so passive in my entire
very
life.
Passive.
What is happening?
He's at a point. Well, I mean, look, he came to me with his hat in his hand. There's his hat right there. You've never been nominated for a Grammy.
Yeah, I would like some, because this is probably my best work. So if I get the right person to take it under their wings,
right?
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, under your wings.
Could they maybe get to the right people for a nomination? I don't know how it works.
I'm sure you've run a Grammy campaigns before.
Yes, I have. I was just nominated for a Grammy with Jay Moore for his last album, Happy and Alive.
That's exciting.
And you sent it in?
Yeah, I did. There was a whole process that I worked on.
And you're the producer.
Yes, and so is he, and so is his wife.
Because I don't.
Rich, this is so. I have to share this. I know this is the wrong thing. I swear to you, I've known this man for the first time I met this guy. Okay, he did an audition in my club. His hair looked like Oscar Gamble from the Cleveland Indians in the 70s. He was wearing an Italian chain the size of Rhode Island. He had tattoos with colors like not found in nature, and he was just like coming into a Boston club, and he fucking killed. It was unbelievable. And he's always been this guy who my mother would always say this term, vaccinated with a phonograph needle. So you know that's an old reference.
Right.
Because you were always a guy a mile a minute. So to see him here like he's literally on some kind of painkillers is...
We're all on painkillers, but
I just... Because I'm at a standstill with this, and I got to get a producer that can fucking take control and get... I want it nominated.
I don't... Are you sure? I mean, you've always been an outside guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's face it, Jay Moore, he works in every format of show business, but you're the outside guy, you know?
You're an
Once
outsider.
Nominated, I think it changes who you are, that rebel thing.
And I'm a good friends with Jay, I guarantee whatever he did, which is probably great, not at this level.
Is that right?
That's how I am. I know.
Well, I thought Jay's was interesting because his wife wrote all the material.
Yeah, he did something that was very against the grain for every comic who's listening to your show right now. Would say never admit that anybody wrote a joke for you. Like, you know, Chris Rock, if he does the Academy Awards, he's not doing press conference and saying, "Hey, Lance Crowther, Voss was here." You don't do that as an Carson never did that. You don't talk about it. Bob Hope, you don't talk about it. So he decided, he said, "Listen, I want to go against the grain. I want to do something that's going to maybe make comics look at me and say, why would he do that?" But his wife just started writing all this stuff for him, and he started performing, and he thought, well, why not? It's just one album. Why don't I do that? And that was the album that really people really took notice of.
Yeah, but ever since he did that, what are the odds? And now he's getting divorced.
No.
Is he getting divorced?
No.
Isn't Jay getting divorced?
No.
I don't.
No, absolutely
I hope
not.
I read that.
Well, that's okay. I mean, you never know. I mean, anything's possible. I got divorced.
You know, so did I, and I remarried. You know what's funny? That you say Chris Rock. I got a call today. They're shooting a sketch, and they wanted me to come up and sit to do punch up.
Yeah.
So I'm not blowing off Bennington.
For Chris Rock?
Yeah, big deal.
Good. All right. I like that.
Let me tell you something. Ron Bennington would tell you to blow off Ron Bennington for Chris Rock.
I have a couple things. I had 3 things here.
Yeah.
They wanted me to get up there too quick.
But you're doing really well. Like your podcast, you always see it up there in the ratings. It's like I'm always saying to myself, God, if I could just get to Rich Ross's level.
It's not. I'm doing great. The only thing I'm stuck on is getting someone to fucking.
You don't need to get somebody to do anything. Let me just share something with you, okay?
Yes.
Maybe you don't agree with this. Maybe you will agree with this. By the way, did a great job on the packaging. I love it. It's first class. And again, I will say to anybody listening, if you're going to do anything, make it an A. Don't do a B- or a B+ or a C.
Don't rush into
everything about this is an A. It looks beautiful. It's graphically sound. You got a great picture of yourself that looks better looking than you actually are. And it looks fantastic. I think you did a great job here. So, but the thing about albums is like anything else. It's like the way things work now is people listen to them, and if it blows them the fuck away, you'll have everything you want. And let's face it, I want to share this story with you, and I didn't share it with Ron the last time I was with him on Mask, but it was a hilarious story. So Kevin Hart and Chris Rock were going to a comedy club. It was one of those, I think, try out new material nights or something like that. And now you think of Kevin Hart and Chris Rock, and obviously if Kevin Hart and Chris Rock were here, Kevin Hart would be the first one to say, my material is not even close to Chris Rock's, but I'm doing it. I'm working hard. I'm doing the best I can, and hopefully my comedy resonates with people. But he's not going to put himself where Chris Rock is. But they were together having fun, so they're writing new material. They kill, both of them kill with their new material. And they're feeling good, and they got their notes, and they're fantastic. They're very excited. And then Chappelle walks in, and Chappelle does like an hour of new material. And halfway through when Chappelle's on stage, you hear them just crumpling up the paper and throwing it down like, God damn it. And so it's all about the content. So if the content in here is extraordinary and it blows people away, and it's like, as I like to say, undeniable, people will listen to it, they'll pass it on to their friends, and it'll be crazy, and it'll be nuts. And if it isn't, it isn't. I'll give you an example. 1 million people do hour specials, right?
My mailman just did one.
Okay. Yeah. Every time a steel mill closes, there's 5,000 new hour specials, okay? But the point being is that how many of those people actually get noticed and get a shot and go to the next level? It's because the content within the special isn't as extraordinary as they think it is. So if this is extraordinary and great, people will be listening to the show, they'll download it. I'm sure there's a place where they can download it and listen to it. And then the Grammy people will be listening to it as well. And in every Grammy campaign, there's somebody, 1, 2, 3, that don't do anything. They don't do anything at all. With Jay, I hope I'm allowed to tell the story.
Go ahead.
So Jay, this was an odd thing as a manager, because I'm a manager first. I produce TV and film probably second, and then the podcast in my spare time. But so at the beginning of the year, he comes to me and he says, Barry, I have one goal that you have to concentrate on this year. One goal. I said, what's that? He said, I want to be nominated for a Grammy Award. It's really important for me, and I want that. It means a lot to me, because I think that this album garners that kind of respect, and I think it gets nominated for a Grammy, not just for me, but for my wife. It'll be a sign that this can be done and people can work on things together and do great work, and I think it'll be good for everybody. I said, well, what else do you want me to work? Nothing. That's the only goal you have. And I said, well, Jay, I can't control the Grammy voters. Cats make it happen. Yeah. And I said, what do you mean make it happen? I'm telling you, that's not my world. Make it happen. And so, like anything else, and for your listeners listening, everybody starts everything at 0-0. They have to figure out how to get to the next level, and they have to figure. Now, I wasn't a Grammy expert. I don't know. So what did I do? I just did all the research, and I gutted it out, and I did hours and hours of research, and I found these unique companies that specialized, these boutique companies that specialized in getting people a Grammy nomination, and the list on their resume, just like a list on your resume has all the shows, the list on these boutique companies had all these artists that they worked with who were nominated for a Grammy. So I formed a bond and a relationship with believe it or not, another management company that just specialized in like artists trying to get obscure artists trying to get a Grammy. So I formed a bond with them for 6 months, and then I found a publicity company, a real boutique publicity company that specialized in artists that they work with that got Grammys. And I brought them together, and I took meetings with them, and we strategized and put things together. And together, we were able to get them the nomination.
Wow.
And then that's how it worked.
A lot of money to hire these people, or is it reasonable?
I think, well, I don't know what you think would be reasonable, but over 6 months, I think it was probably $15,000. So what's a publicist each month normally? Like, I negotiated deals aggressively with these people because I felt that if I could get them to that place, it would be good for them too. And so I negotiated the fees. So probably it was around maybe $3,000 or $4,000 a month, which is what a normal publicist would cost anyway. And a lot of comedians have publicists, but a lot of people like Rich who are working hard and killing themselves, that's a lot of money. And to spend that kind of money and be in a situation where you hope that you're going to get a Grammy is not what you want to do. But Jay, I just said to him, listen, What's that? That's like part of some gig somewhere in Bakersfield, California. You know, just invest in yourself and do it. And what's the worst thing that can happen? Amateurized over your lifetime. What is it? 33 cents a day, depending on how long you live.
Yeah.
And so he did it, and we worked together on it. And he was amazing, and he really worked hard. Jay did, and these people worked hard, and we made it happen. That's one of the greatest accomplishments, to be honest with you, in my career, when somebody says, do something, and I've never done it before. Same when Dane Cook came to me and said, okay, I'm going to do the social media thing, make it happen.
Right.
I have the blueprint, make it happen. You don't want to sit in front of an artist that you manage and say, I don't know how to make it happen. You say, yeah, I'll make it happen. And when you say that and you leave the room, you actually get in your car and probably weep a little bit and then try to figure out how it happened.
Because you know that they're putting themselves out there all the time for this work. I mean, they're taking leaps all the time, so you got to meet them halfway and take a leap. Like, I don't know how to do this, but I'll do it.
Well, and two, one, I get in my car and weep on a daily basis, but there's two ways you say go about it. Someone at the Grammys will hear it, or spend $15,000. I'm going to go with the first one.
You're just going to let it play. Maybe somebody will hear it.
Yeah, my advice for you, Rich, is this. I think it was I interviewed this baseball player who played for 17 years, and he won the World Series with the Red Sox. Big Papi dedicated the championship to him. It was Royce Clayton, and he said something that you probably heard before. Maybe other people have said it. He said, study greatness, imitate greatness, become great. So my advice to you, Rich, is real simple. Go home, spend 20 hours, do research on every comedian that was nominated for a Grammy in the last 10 years, which will be 50 artists. Mm-hmm. Some will be repeat artists like Louis C.K. and Chris Rock, and get that list. Look at who you have relationships with on that list first. Get in touch with them. Say, listen, would you mind if would you just take 15 minutes and talk to me about something that's important to me? I don't want anything from you. I just want to talk to you, pick your brain. And you ask them, how did you get the Grammy? What was your process? And you either record it or write it down, and then you reach out to the people that you don't know and ask, can I take the time with you? Some will say no, but some will say yes. And then you get all that information, you gather it together, and you imitate that, and then you make it happen. You put the blueprint together for making it work. And then if it's not this year, then it's next year. That's what I would do.
This is getting one. You know what? I agree with you. I'm calling.
You agree with me?
Right, guys?
All right.
I'm calling Jay tonight. I'm calling Jay tonight. And two, the day it came out, went to number one on iTunes. This is my 5th CD. That's why it's called.
Okay, so went to number one on iTunes. So what are you complaining about?
I want.
What's the problem?
I want a Grammy. I've been backstage at the Oscars. There's certain things in my life I want as a comic. And I was only kidding about Jay's. This is better than his. I didn't hear his, and I know he's great. I'm good friends with him, and he would say the same thing about me. Obviously, you know that. So, there's certain things you do in your life, and you go, okay, so it's number one on iTunes, or it was number one, or I made this many sales. But you're thinking, when you have such a good piece of work, which this is, in my opinion, and 4 other reviews, you want to, look at.
But did you do the paperwork to submit it for the Grammys?
I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna start. That's my next mission, because I don't have another mission. I'm not working.
But how long have you had this album?
It's only been out for 2 weeks.
Okay, all right.
For 2 weeks.
Okay, so if it's been out for 2 weeks, then you're
no, a week. It's been out
okay. Because I was worried, because if you were trying to get nominated for a Grammy this year, you're dead. But this is going to be for next year, so you got a whole year.
You got plenty of time.
Yeah. So the key for what you're doing is to get the most. The most excitement behind it that people are always talking about. So every show you go on, if this is your passion, you go on and you are your own campaign. You're like the Don King of your album, and you make it work and you make it happen. Look, I look at Ron and his daughter here, and it's always fascinating to see this. His daughter's always going to probably go through things in her life where people are going to say, she's great, but she only got the show because of her dad. And there's going to come a point in time where she's going to be tired of hearing that, and she's going to have to figure out, okay, do I want to hear those things all the time? And is that going to bother me? Am I going to put it out of my mind? Or is one day I'm going to go out on my own and I'm going to do my own projects and my own things where I garner my own respect that's not shared with somebody I love, who's my dad. And so I'm sure everybody goes through their own thing where they're trying to figure out how to get their own star up there. And your way of doing it is going on every show and making it happen.
Well, thank you.
I'm just saying, are you trying to break up me and Gail here today?
I mean, I heard what you said, and I think maybe murder is my first option.
Jesus, I didn't even know she was your daughter.
No, I'm barely holding on to my own life as it is.
Holy fuck.
Sleep now.
I don't even want a fucking Grammy anymore. Fuck a Grammy. I just want to go out of here without crying.
Yeah. But I don't know. You brought up about so many specials going out there. I recently saw a special that hasn't been sold yet, Jimmy Schubert's. I think it's one of the best things I've ever seen.
You didn't sell it?
I don't think he sold it yet, but it is so damn funny. It's one of the funniest ever. But there's so much shit out there now.
Well, let's talk about Jimmy Schubert for a second.
Yeah.
I've known Jimmy Schubert probably as long as I've known Rich Voss.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's got something great right now. You saw it. You know comedy.
Yeah.
We talked about this in Montreal. How many comedians actually are there where if I put the true serum in your veins, you could say, extraordinary.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Everything out of their mouth. Unbelievable. There's them and there's everybody else. Well, you count them on half a hand.
Mm-hmm.
So Jimmy Schubert's a guy who Rich Voss will attest to. Inbombable. Mm-hmm. The guy, I don't think I've seen the guy bomb in my entire life. I mean, guy could do the shittiest gig in the world and kill like Rich.
Yeah.
Could do the best gig, kill. But the thing is like, he's been doing comedy now probably for 25, 30 years. Okay? 25, 30 years. And you have to expand your cylinders in your engine. You have to be in a situation where you don't just stay and do one thing. Unless you're Bill Hicks or somebody like that who, you think Bill Hicks cared whether he was a judge on a game show or whether he was in a sitcom. He just wanted to be the best comedian he could be. So there are people like that. But Jimmy Schubert isn't one of them. Jimmy Schubert, I'm sure if you were sitting here would say, I want a full career. I want to write books. I want to do albums. I want to act in television series. I want to act in films. I want to be a stand-up. I want to host show. I want to do all these things. But for some reason, Jimmy Schubert, you don't see him. He's not present. You don't see him. When's the last time you saw Jimmy Schubert hanging around comedy clubs in L.A. or New York or walking in or doing
he's
sets?
at the store all the time.
Maybe is now, but the fact is that I don't feel like I see him as much out there, and I don't feel like he's a guy who, and he would say the same thing. When you book that acting gig, when you get that acting gig, like look at Aziz Ansari. This guy was doing, as Rich would attest, guy was doing 130 spots at the Cellar. 130 spots at the Cellar. He goes in for an audition for a show we all know. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's harder to get a role for Brad Williams than it is for, it's harder to get a role for Aziz Ansari than it is for Brad Williams to get a role. Walks in the audition, books the job, is on television for 5 years, and it's no coincidence that anything can happen that he wants to happen because he's got that fan base. Jimmy Schubert, for whatever reason, and I don't know what it is, and maybe when he's on the show he could share what he thinks it is, but he hasn't been in a place where people in the world have seen him over and over again. So now he's got the special, and you want to go out and sell the special. These networks, they want to have things that people want. Who are you going to put on? You're going to put on a guy or a girl that somebody knows or that somebody doesn't know. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, Gerard Carmichael had a special. Nobody knew him. Jim Jeffries had a special. Nobody knew him. But those guys, and again, people might shoot me for this, those guys were doing something extraordinarily special, like no one else was doing at the time. And that's normally the person who gets that first special on. Yes, 8 years ago, I've done 37 specials. Mm-hmm. I've had people, I produce specials of people you don't even know who they are, and I got them on the air. But that was a different time. Now it's very competitive, and people want to have somebody on the air that they're going to tune in and watch. Oh, I know that guy. I know that guy. But when you hear the name Jimmy Schubert, guys like myself and Rich Voss and you, we all know what a great comic he is. But the world doesn't know what a great comic he is. So it's very, very difficult.
Rich, is that tough for you to hear something like that?
No, because here's the thing. I know what he's saying. And I, myself, of course, think Jimmy's great. I fucking love Jimmy. I play golf with him. You have to stay as relevant as you can in this business, whether it's a hot podcast, whether it's radio, whether it's CDs putting out. Like with me, with this thing, my last 3 CDs went to #1. So there's people that see that. So they're going, well, this guy's still relevant to some extent. Then we had a radio show, a hot podcast. So you got to stay relevant. But what I disagree with is they'll give you a special if you have 500,000 followers. They're not going with quality. Back in the day, it was quality. To get a special, you had to be a funny fucking comic. Back in the day, right? You had to be, to me, a pretty goddamn good comic. Now, in my opinion, I could be wrong. Barry would know this more because he's on the other end.
But let me just say this though. I saw Ali Wong's special. I wasn't familiar with her work at all. I have nothing in common with her. Right. Yeah. My jaw hit the floor. I'm like, this is unbelievable. This is one for the ages. And I think that's the important part of comedy. I think the important part is, where the hell did this come from? And I'll be her fan from this point on. Not that I followed her on Twitter or caught her on a podcast, but the purity of her going out and me going, look at this chick. She's 7 months pregnant. She's edgy. She's all over the place. She's so physical. I'll be your fan forever.
Think of what you just said. That's the key to everything. You're on the radio. Mm-hmm. Millions of people listen to you. Imagine if you don't have anybody on the radio and you become successful. It's people like you watching her show all across the world and saying to 10 friends, I'm a fan for life. She blew me away. It was amazing. That's all you want as an artist. And Rich Voss will get his Grammy if every artist in the world and people all over the place are saying, this was unbelievable. I'm a fan for life. This is incredible. Ali Wong, no coincidence, I don't know how long she was doing it, did Letterman.
Yeah.
Killed on Letterman. Got acting jobs right away. You don't walk into rooms and book acting jobs if you're a woman and a comedian right away. If you're an Asian woman and a comedian, again, how many roles are there for people out there? How many Asian women do you see on television in comedy roles?
3.
But the point I'm trying to make is that Ali Wong moved you, and if she moved you, that means she moved a lot of people, and a lot of people are talking about her. And as an artist, that's all you hope for. When Gerard Carmichael used to go up at the Improv, it always cracked me up. It was like, a lot of people were like, I don't get it. I don't understand. He's young. No, he doesn't have the seasoning. But yet, it was like when Attell used to go on at the cellar, it was like, as I told you, like a gunshot would go off in the other room, and it'd be like, oh, fuck, we got to get in, we got to watch this guy. Let's go to the back of the room and watch this guy. And that's what it's going to be like for Ali Wong and people like them. who make a difference. And again, many Netflix specials out.
Yeah.
How many people do you say what you just said that about?
No, it's very, very true. I mean, I did it with Segura is the same way, but I'd known his work a little bit, but I watched him mature into this phenomenal performer over the last couple of years.
But what he's saying is if people see Schubert's special,
right,
they'll all be fucking going, wow, look at this, and he builds a fan base because they know Ali Wong, who I didn't see this, but I heard it's great. They know she's very marketable. She has an Asian audience, which is a very big audience. She's castable. You say there's only so many parts, but she's still very castable.
Ron, I never knew you were Asian.
Aberration.
No, what I'm saying is, so how many, like you say, how many Asian female comics are you going to turn on since, Margaret or
3?
So you're good, to me, it breaks down to marketing and sales and numbers. Twitter followers.
See, that's the thing.
Media,
what you're saying is you think it's the marketing,
I think,
and then the marketing guy is saying no, it's through creativity. You guys are almost coming at it from different angles.
I think to me, some of the funniest comics on the planet, you don't, like he said, you don't know who the hell they are. You don't know because they're not.
To be really caught,
what
that's
you're
the
saying,
fun thing.
What Rich is saying is if you don't have the platform to be distributed, if nobody gets to see your work, then how do you get to have the support level where you can say, okay, we can make things happen?
Well, you got to be in L.A. or New York, one.
Hey, Ron, how many people were listening to you before your first radio appearance? 0.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Everybody's platform is 0 at one point in time. And so they build it up on their own with their content. Their act or what they do builds up. You're not here. You haven't been doing this for 1 or 2 years. Do you know how many people who've had their own shows on Sirius are no longer here anymore? Okay.
Right,
why are they no longer here anymore? Are they no longer here anymore because they moved the needle and they blew the roof off the place and millions of people listened to them? No, they're no longer here anymore because something happened where they didn't move the needle. Nick DiPaolo, Artie Lang. Nick DiPaolo gets his own show, big show. He asked Artie Lang to be his co-host. Okay? 6 months in, it's just Artie Lang. How does that happen? Why does that happen? Does it happen because, I'm sure Nick would have a whole bunch of philosophies of why it happened. But, when you're looking at things, you got to look at how things happen in your life and what's the common thing. And the common thing is you. You're the common thing. So you guys are here. You're successful. People come in and out of this building let's face it, it's a revolving door of people who get fired, who don't get picked up. But you're here. You're here because the content and people rally around it and they tell all their friends and they say, you gotta listen to that. Before I did Unmasked.
Yeah.
I don't want to give you a big head or anything like this, but before I did Unmasked, I was stopped in Montreal, I'd say more than 20 times. They came up to me, they say, I hear you're doing Unmasked. I said, yeah, I've never done it before. Ron Bennington is amazing. He's an amazing interviewer. He's so incredible. You're going to have such a great time. There's no one better than this guy. Over 20 people, many who I didn't even know.
Who gave you advice on how to do it?
You did.
Is it horrifying for you if 5 seconds goes by, Rich, and the topic isn't Rich Voss?
No, I just...
Is Nate here?
He's coming up.
Do you guys know Nate Bargatze?
Of course, I love him.
Let's bring him into the... Are you going to take off, Rich?
Well, I want to say hi to Nate, then I'm going to scram.
Oh, well, we got to break first, right?
Okay.
Let me break, and you can hang out, Barrett.
I'd be honored to
Great.
hang out.
So,
Thank you.
Rich, thank you so much.
How many people came up to me at Montreal and said, Anyhow, thank you for having me.
Thank you, buddy.
Good to see these folks. Let's
yeah,
get it
the
back
new
to-
album 5 is available now on iTunes and Amazon, and check out My Wife Hates Me podcast on iTunes or riotcast.com.
Thanks.
We'll be right back. This is Bennington. Hey, it's the Bennington Show. Nate Bargatze just walked in straight from the Tonight Show to
walked over from it.
Stop in. Great to see you. Know Barry Katz.
Yeah, I know Barry.
Of course, he's an amazingly talented comedian. I actually saw him for the first time. Probably was it like 7 or 8 years ago when I wanted to book you for a show.
Wasn't the sports thing in Boston?
Sports show in Boston. And I think it was Jason Steinberg who sent me your stuff, and
Steinbergs
really blew me away.
I started at the Boston Comedy Club.
My old club, which many comedians referred to as Anne Frank's Comedy Attic, which Judd Apatow and Pete Holmes are doing a show, Crashed, or is it Crashing?
Crash, something like that.
Around, and they replicated the Boston Comedy Club
out of all the clubs.
Out of all the clubs, and I was so excited, you know, when they're on the phone with me, and I'm like, God, this is so great! I can't believe 17 years of my life I put in this club when I came from Boston. Started with Chappelle there and Jay Moore and all these incredible people, Tracy Morgan, and I'm so excited. And they're like, Barry, listen, could you we have to tell you something about this. It's not the club when it was in its heyday. It's after you left when it went to shit and the inmates were running the asylum. That's what we're presenting here. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's where you started, though. Huh?
That's where I started. I barked and I handed out flyers. I remember one night we had Chappelle on stage, and you would tell people, you could go out and go, there'd be 5 people in the crowd, and then you could go, Chappelle's on stage, and there'd be 90. Yeah. Immediately. And I remember I'll never forget these 2 people. I said, Chappelle's on stage. And then they go, why we don't believe you. And I was like, just go walk up and look in the window. I was like, if he's not there, then leave. And then they were like, I'm not doing it. And they just left. And I was like, all right. And they never, all right, guys.
It's what we talked about earlier. You know, it's like the word of mouth of great work.
Yeah.
It's like you tell somebody on the street that somebody's in, they just run in.
I always think what Nate does, though, like, to not do comedy before you go to New York or LA always seemed crazy to me. It's like, go into the sticks, be ridiculous there for a while, and then go to New York.
I started in Chicago for about a year and a half. But I mean, I was so new and moving here. I always tell guys that they should come here quicker than they think, because I think if you wait so long, it's harder to come here because you're going to get knocked back. Yeah. So you don't want to be 10 years in, and then you got to have a young open mic kid tell you can't do his show. Right. Like, that's, I think, harder to deal with than if you're a year and a half, 2 years in. Of course, you're going to get told no, and you have to you got to run around and work. So I always think it's good to come at least do a little bit, at least get your feet wet and know at least what it's like to stand with a microphone. But then just come and just dive in.
Well, you know what I was thinking about you the other night, because I taped you because the series is on, and then I'm like, oh, there's a brain delay. I go over, I'm trying to go back and forth. But when Fallon said a regular on the Tonight Show, which I haven't heard anybody else be called that since Fallon has taken over. That's pretty amazing.
It's pretty awesome. It's that stuff means the most. Cause that's the stuff I like. It's like that's, I don't know. It's like being into comedy and just being able to do the Tonight Show like that, and you go on and him to say that. I've always loved. I was to do Conan when he was in New York. I was one of the last to do it, but do the old Conan. I don't know, you do all this stuff that comics that you've watched done. So it's
that's when you're like, oh yeah.
And what he said to you, I hope you understand how huge that is, because the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, 30 years. He brought 6 people to the couch. Yeah. One of them was the late Kevin Meaney. Mm-hmm. One of them was Stephen Wright. Teddy Bergeron from Boston. Skip Stevenson from Real People, Believe It or Not. Freddie Prinze Jr. escapes me, the other one. But when he says that to you, that's this time's version of come over to the couch.
Right.
Yeah. And that's where you're in rare form. We were talking before you came about what it takes to move the needle, and those are the things when when people in positions of power endorse you, then you know you're doing something right. I always say if you're around a genius and a genius wants you to be on their show or wants you to be around, then you're on there. If you're in a situation where the number one guy, if Stern wants you, I represent this young impressionist named Piat, and Stern, he does Trump and all, and Stern constantly calls him to come in. And it's like, you don't call, when you're a genius, you don't call somebody in unless they're doing something special. And I don't know if Jimmy would sit here and say he's a genius. That's up to him or whatever. But I will say this, but he's number one.
Yeah.
And when you're number one and the number one person wants you, what does that make you? Show me who you're with and I'll show you who you are.
Oh.
Yeah, and I haven't seen him do that. I don't even know. I mean, they don't even run a lot of stand-up on that show.
No, not a ton.
So
they have, not a ton. Yeah, he's been so nice. I mean, he's been. I met him like at the stand, like randomly, and he saw me there, and I did late night with him when he was doing that, and then he moved over, and yeah, they've been like, you know, they've been every 6-9 months or whatever I can go. Like it's like you just kind of go back on if you have a set and.
You let them know, or you?
They, I tell them like last time I did, I had a Trump joke, and this was like for the primaries, like so he could have still gotten out. So I kind of told him like, hey, I need to do this now, and they gave me a date pretty quickly, and then that was April, and then this one was around getting like 6 months or something, and then so I think it's every 6-9 months. I'll just if I feel ready and have a set, I'll just give them a set.
Well, we had a great night the other night because we had our show at the Underground, and then we said, Nate, would you like, he's like, oh, I'm out doing, I'm doing the Tonight Show the next night. I can't, come on your show. And we said, well, just come in, do your set in front of, 250 people.
That was huge.
So this was the beauty of it. So we were able to say, we got our buddy is here. He's doing the Tonight Show tomorrow night. He was the Interrobangs Comedian of the Year last year, and you're going to get to see it tonight. And so I'm like, that applause is building. This is exciting. And then when I say your name, Nate, and the room really pops, I'm like, holy shit, Nate.
Yeah, that was a huge reaction.
It was very,
it was really exciting.
No, you guys are the best, and it's nice to go and like that was a huge favor because you're sold out and you're packed, and so you at least I get to run it with like real laughter instead of like 4 people in the room. It's hard to time it. But like knowing that and how much you guys have done and helped and like it was exciting. It's exciting because you go up sometimes people don't know you're not expecting. I'm not a person that expects everybody to know who you are. And then but they were it was very, very nice.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was great. And it was so. I think it was so cool for everyone to see that in that form, to be like, this is something that's going up. It makes you kind of feel like you're part of that process.
Because you played it like it's TV. You just sat there, you stayed very, inside the box and did your set. It was great, fun.
That's one of the hardest things for a comic to do when they're preparing for a late night show. You go up in these comedy clubs late at night, there's 26 people there, and you're running your set, and you're looking at the time of it, and you're like, wow, this is cool. I've got it. It's 4.5 minutes. It's there. And then you go on the show and the applause breaks come and it's like they're giving you the light. They're waving you sometimes. It's like wrap it up and you're like, wait a second.
That sounds like the most difficult thing to do.
And so you got to go on in a show that was similar to that. And so you could time it out perfectly. Normally, most comics in the day would want to bomb the night before they went on the Tonight Show. It's a weird thing because you have that bad set and you're like, okay, now this next set I got to get back.
I used to always do that. I used to always go do one real bad room so I could bomb with it because I knew if I can make it through that, then nothing can happen that it will be.
But you're so casual. I mean, I watched you. You're just so casual.
Yeah, it's helped now, like, just doing it a bunch. Going to rooms to do it, which is funny, is I remember Conan. I went to open mic in New York and I asked the dude, I was like, hey, can I go up? I'm doing Conan tomorrow. And he was like, I mean, you can go up in like 20 people. And he wouldn't let me go on. I go, all right, man. And then, like, it was an open mic. It was at like 5 p.m. and an open mic, and he's like, I don't know, we're pretty stacked at this open mic, and he wouldn't let me go, and so I just was like, all right.
The humbling nature of comedy. I don't know if there's an other fucking art form, you know?
Yeah, it can come, like, it just balances out.
Yeah.
You get excited for 1 second, and then something shoots you down.
I don't know if and you would know this better than anyone, Barry, but I don't know if there's any art form that it's harder to see if you're building this thing properly. Like, you can tell sometimes with a movie career or a TV career, but a stand-up should he be on the road? Should he be in LA or New York? You know, should he be headlining a theater, or is it better to stay in clubs?
No, it's just in any job, it's best to put as much work in as possible. You talked about Gary Gulman, who I'm interviewing on Friday on Saturday at the Rat Fink Room in the afternoon for the festival. But, you know, here's a guy. Does anybody work, and they might say I do, but does anybody work as hard as Gary Gulman? The guy's always, if there isn't a paper in his hand or a notebook or something that he's working on, it's like he's always working. But he's 25 years in, you know, and I think he would say, if he were here, he's hit his stride really strongly in the past 3, 4, 5 years. 20 years of being great, like it's Andrew Miller on the Cleveland Indians, okay? He was with the Red Sox for years. He never was extraordinary, but everybody said, this guy's got the talent, but it's not there yet. He comes to Cleveland, and all of a sudden, and the Yankees, and he's an all-star. All of a sudden, the guy's been in the league for, 8 years? So you put the work in, and when you put the work in, all of a sudden there's this moment that happens, and I would love to hear, and he's going to say, because he's humble, he's going to say, well, I haven't hit that point yet. But I would love to know the point where you noticed the shift, like the day that you noticed the shift where things changed with your peers and the audiences. What happened?
I don't know. You don't know exactly, but you can tell sometimes. You can tell if something's changed. You can tell when you go on the road, and like just I don't know. Again, one person knows you to 20 know you to like you get half the room. You can feel like, oh, these people do. Like some of these people know me. Like they know they're here for a reason. And then you go to some places. I went to Syracuse, and not one person. You could feel it. You can really feel when they don't. When you're like, this entire room doesn't know me at all. So I don't know. I think you feel it like that. It's hard to tell. You're just always trying to get better. I mean, you're always like, Gary's like a guy Gary's one of the best stand-ups, working, like with everybody. Burr and Louis, and I mean, Gary's unbelievable. And I think it's like, you gotta wait, sometimes you gotta wait till that 20 for years. Those guys, they just know how to write jokes. Like, I think so many comics think, I'm gonna do a special. I'll just do a new hour every year. You're like, we're not Louis. I'm not Louis. I can't do that. I can't do what Gary does. I'm trying. I'm going to keep trying to get better, but you got to let yourself get old enough to know how to do that, and learn your voice to where you can make anything a joke.
So you're really based out of Nashville now, right?
Now I am. Yeah.
That does that feel like, oh, this is relaxing? I'm away from both coasts, or oh shit, could something be going on either coast? And I'm missing it.
I was worried about that at first. I didn't tell anybody when I first moved there. I just was like, no one's going to know, because no one sees anybody.
Yeah.
So I just lied to everybody. And I drove Rory. I didn't tell Rory. Rory Scovel is a very close friend. So I was like, I'm going to try not to tell my close friends. And then Rory came to Nashville, and I just drove him to my house. And I haven't told him yet that I moved here. And he was just like, wait, did you move here too? So I was worried about that at first. But I go on the road every week. So it's not like I was in LA anyway, I was gone constantly. And so now when I go to LA, I go and you do your meetings or whatever. And I think everybody wants me to be in Nashville. You want to, I feel like if I have meetings or anything, people want to buy all in. They don't want me living somewhere. They want to be I want you to be living there, and so that they can be like, of course you live there. Of course you do. Why would you not? So I just give them what they want.
Yeah, that's full character for you now.
Full character now. Yeah.
Nate Bargatze's in studio with us. You can purchase Nate's special Full-Time Magic on iTunes and Amazon. He's performing Saturday at the Stand, thestandnyc.com for tickets, and go to natebargatze.com for all tour dates.
Here's one of the things, Barry, too, I love about Nate is you never see him coming. You never see that thing that he has until you're minutes into it, and you're like, holy shit, this is fucking hilarious. At first you think he's telling you a story, you know what I mean? And before you know it, you're just full in, it's really a good movie will do.
Yeah, it's you're so correct. The comedy, the closest thing to great comedy is great horror. A great horror movie, and I'll tell you why. The audience, a shitty horror movie, which no one goes to see, or everybody tells everybody is shitty, is when they come out and they say, I knew exactly what was going to happen. I knew when this person was going to get killed. I knew what was happening there. There's a reason why Saw made $1 billion. Because when the end of the movie happened and the guy's getting up and you're like, holy shit. I never saw that coming.
Yeah.
And as a comedian, success is equal to keeping your audience away from knowing what's going to happen. You have to present yourself in a way where you're smarter than your audience. It sounds horrible because it's doesn't that downplay the audience? No. What you're doing is you're in a situation where you don't let your audience get ahead of you. Once they get ahead of you, you're never going to make it as a comedian. And the thing about Nate that's so powerful, like you said, is the audience never gets ahead of them. They never know what's going to happen. They never can predict where the joke is going to go. And
so Nate, you're like Saw. You're like the movie Saw.
I'm like the movie Saw. The first one was amazing. It really was.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that you just said that's fascinating. The first one was amazing.
Yeah. And then you got used to it. Or then I got worried it got too gross.
So how do you your first Tonight
his
Show?
First joke's amazing, and then then people go, they stop watching by the end of it.
All right, well, this is a weird treat. Nate Bargatze, Barry Katz in studio, and on the hotline right now is Mitchell Walters, who...
Oh, my God. I did one of my first gigs with Mitchell Walters, and he'll never remember it.
Let's say, Mitchell, lock it up. What's up?
Nothing, just waiting for the Breeders' Cup tomorrow and waiting to win the football pool.
Oh, you're still in the Highlander.
That's correct, sir.
All right, so, by the way, did you know that Barry Katz is here, and Barry said he did one of his original shows with you?
Mitch, I have to tell you something, okay? I was like a young comedian. I'd only done comedy a few times in Boston. And
right.
And I was part of the swim team, and every year we would take a bus or a van down to the Fort Lauderdale Hall of Fame pool and swim for 10 days. And I invited my swim team to come to the comic strip in Fort Lauderdale.
Right on US 1.
Yes, in 1979 or 80. And I do an open mic night. And back then on Mondays, you did the open mic night, and there were 4 comedians on the show. And I'm going to tell you, if I hope I can remember, there was you, there was Schmock and Valley, who did King Kong doing the dishes.
Wow.
There was Ron Zimmerman from San Francisco, who did the juggling with the thing, or whatever it was.
Sure.
And there was Jackie the Joke Man Martling. Okay,
I was headlining, right?
Yes,
I was headlining.
And I
was definitely headlining.
And I remember you. This is how my memory is. This is over 30 years ago. I'm in the back, and you do a joke. You say, I went to 7-Eleven. I ate so much there, they renamed it 610. and I remember that joke. Am I wrong or am I right?
You're correct. I don't do that anymore.
Of course not.
And
everything at 7-Eleven costs the same price. What area code you from? Huh? Give me any seat. I'll give you the area code.
But you were so generous to me. I went on and did my set, and you came up to me, and so did Schmock and Valley, and said you should keep doing this. And right after that, I retired.
This is the important thing,
great.
Barry, to know where you are in comedy. How much money does Mitchell owe you? Because And Tilly's been in your pocket. I really feel like you're not in comedy.
I don't know about him that way.
Oh, yeah. He owes everybody, and he's gambling, and he's having a great time. He's got party packages.
Does he owe you money?
He owes everybody money. I'm not going to, I take it as
Everyone.
Everyone. That's his thing. One time, literally, he called me during a Super Bowl for money. And I'm like, it's the Super Bowl, Mitchell. And he goes like this, I'm having a heart attack right now. This fucking guy's there, he's at my door, laying on the floor. And I'm just like, I'll give you it. Whatever it is, just take it. Great. Then I want to talk to you about a couple other things. But I didn't notice that you just got knocked out of the pool. You bet the Vikings.
I messed up. My way was going to go against whoever plays the Browns.
Yeah, I was watching you. You were just on that Browns thing, and then you ran out.
I thought there's no, because the Bears have just been so bad, and Vikings have been so good, and I was just like, I don't know. I was scared. Jets are not playing good, so they were playing the Browns. I was like, I don't know. That's going to be, maybe they could lose, and I went Vikings.
Well, I have some good picks left. I have plenty of good teams left.
Doug Benson went out on the Vikings, so only 3 guys are left to win the Joe Montana football. Mitchell Walters, Jim Florentine, and Robbie Slowick. Here's the weird thing. Robbie's girlfriend won last year.
Casey Balsam.
Oh, wow.
She won last year, so this could be, this is like the Chicago Cubs year.
I got knocked out first
By
last
the way,
year.
Ronnie, I had the Cubs last night.
You did have the Cubs. All right.
If anybody-
How much you have
if
down
anyone
on it?
can
Did you move it
if anyone
over?
can break the curse, if anybody can break the curse, it's me.
And then, this one night with Sam Kinison, and we just, we fucking locked it up. Mitchell did all the shows with Kinison throughout the years. And even, like, Kinnison's brother still blames Mitchell. But that's the beauty of it. That's where you want to be in this business. They know you for things.
Yeah.
Mitchell, who are you taking this week? Do you know?
No, I'm going to call Chris tomorrow. I'm going to text him. I don't want to give Florentine any chance.
All right, buddy. Thanks for calling.
All right, Barry, nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you. What a blast from the past.
Yeah, that's. I'm going to try to think of what, Mitchell has been around comedy since forever. Mitchell was the guy who told Dice, leave Brooklyn, come to L.A., and I'll help you at the Comedy Store. And I heard that from Dice. I mean, he's always been there for everyone's darkest days. He just has that kind of personality. But he did every one of them. I mean, his, you ever want to make a movie or a documentary, that Kinison story is crazy interesting. Crazy interesting. Mitchell was there for every show.
Wow.
Yeah. And for some reason, he lives. And you can't go to a track anywhere in America and not see him. Every track he's at. That's the funniest thing about comedians, too. They work really hard. They're very, very responsible. But then irresponsibility actually helps your set. You know what I mean?
They go in hard, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like a little light. It's like, they drink. If people drink, it's like, it becomes a real problem.
Oh, yeah.
When I first started, you thought, oh, we get a drink with everybody's stopped drinking or an AA. So then you got to just find your guys to drink with. And then until all your friends, then they stop drinking.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
Yeah, when you're the last one not drinking, you either don't drink much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you have no idea where you are right now. You have no idea where your life is.
Barry Katz and Nate Bargatze are in studio with us. Barry Katz will be interviewing Gary Goldman Saturday, November 5th for the Industry Standard podcast at Rat Fink Room downtown in New York City. And he's going to be interviewing Jim and Jeannie Gaffigan Sunday, November 6th for the podcast, also at the Rat Fink Room. Go to NewYorkComedyFestival.com for tickets, and the Industry Standard podcast is available on iTunes. And Nate Bargatze, you can purchase his special Full-Time Magic on iTunes and Amazon. Go to NateBargatze.com for all additional tour dates.
And it's so cool to have you guys hanging out. By the way, the thing that we did earlier with Voss, there's no way he's going to get a Grammy nomination. I don't care if he puts up 150.
I don't even know what you're talking about, and I don't think he can get one.
No. First of all, I love the guy, and I never even bothered listening to his goddamn CD. So why would anyone else? I don't even know if you offered me the $15,000 if I could sit and listen to it.
There's always a possibility.
There was always. That's what you got to believe. That's what you got to
I think
believe.
he can do it.
Yeah.
I think he can do it.
No, like Nate, would you think that like what Barry does for a living is fun, or is that something you could never picture yourself doing? Caring about others.
Caring what?
Caring about others.
Oh, caring about others.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I don't know how you care.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I could do it. I think it's pretty fun to see. I like seeing people's careers and stuff. Like, I like seeing, like, people do stuff. Seeing people get famous. Like, I started with Pete and Hannibal and all those guys and Amy Schumer. It's like, it's fun to see people.
It is
blow
insane,
up, like,
right?
yeah.
It is insane. I remember it seemed like just a couple years ago when Amy was just starting her show and I did an unmasked with her and she's like, I don't know, but I still have the clubs no matter what, that's my main thing, and I'm just like, yeah, you do. Don't let this pressure. And like minutes later, my mom's like, you know who I like? I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. This quickly? I mean, it's that fast.
Fast.
Yeah.
I remember when I got my first office as a manager in LA, it was across from the Laugh Factory in the Directors Guild building. And I wanted to have a place in LA that was special. And I went to rent this office space and I finished signing the papers and I got to the elevator. Where on the elevator, it's like, sometimes you see the names of the companies and I'm pressing the button. I'm waiting for it to open. And I see in brass letters, Messina Baker Miller. And I'm like, oh my God, that's Rick Messina. He represents Drew Carey and Tim Allen. That's Richard Baker. They do the same. And Jimmy Miller, holy Moses, he represents Jim Carrey. I run back there and I go to my office. I say, where are they? They said, you rented the office right next to theirs. And I go back there to say hello. And Jimmy Miller is pacing back and forth like in this weird, like catatonic state. I'm like, Jimmy, what's the matter? He's like, I don't know, this weekend I got this movie opening, Jim. Everybody passed on the movie and, nobody wanted to do it. And I really strongly suggested they do it. And it's coming out this weekend and I just don't know. I said, what do you mean, Ace Ventura? He said, yeah, man, it's just, I'm really worried, man. It's I think it could really tank and then that could be the end of his career. And I'm like, well, it could also do well. He said, I know, but it's just, and then I came in the next Monday, and he wasn't catatonic anymore.
No, not catatonic. But here's the weird thing about that movie. Could anybody else have made that movie work but Jim Carrey? I mean, if someone showed you that script, you would have thought someone mentally ill wrote it. I mean, I don't even understand the script. And I laughed like a baby watching that.
Yeah, and there's more, and he did more.
Yeah,
like the fact that you could show that script, like, and this is going to be it. You're like, no, we're going to do.
Well, Gail, I think that, like, when you and your brother were little kids, like, that was like the first comedies that we ever watched.
Yeah, that was one of the first that I can remember. Kind of like all of us together.
Yeah.
It felt very
that and Sandler.
It was.
That's the thing, man. Like, if anyone says anything about Sandler, I always think to myself, the first movies you could sit and laugh your ass off and seeing your kids just sliding off the couch, screaming. And, you have that funny thing of, oh, they get it. They get this bit. That's always funny to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, one of those first ones I feel like we kind of like all connected and it was like something new too,
right.
And then that level of like that weird thing that happens when it's like an adult who has like the pure silliness of a child. Like, I don't think a child loves anything more than that. The comedians who are just like, they're like me, but they're an adult. Like, it's all the best things about like being a kid, but then they're able to do all the cool things about being an adult.
They can drive.
Right. They can drive, they can have sex, they can drink, they can do everything great.
I never even thought of that. That's why I probably loved the Stooges when I was a kid, because you're just like, holy shit, they're big enough to punch back. You know what I mean?
I used to have this thing with the Stooges, and I don't know what it was. I used to sit in front of the black and white television, and I would never laugh, but I would be glued to it. And my mother never understood why I didn't laugh. And I'll never forget this moment. Like, she heard me laughing so hard, and she ran in. She said, "What are you laughing at?" I had Three Stooges. Well, what happened? Who hit who? What happened? Who knocked who down? No one knocked anyone down. This is the line that it was. Mo said to, Larry, what do you think? And Mo said basically after Larry said something, he said, every time you think you weaken the nation. and so it was a smart line that made me laugh at the Three Stooges.
That's fucking hilarious.
Every time you think you weaken the nation.
That still would work. That line would still work today, even though that everyone who was involved in it is dead.
Now,
that's amazing.
Tammy Pescatelli just texted me. She had tried to call, but her phone disconnected.
Of course it did.
But she wanted to call and sing your praises, and she was saying, "Oh my God, Barry's on. I want to say hey."
Oh, I love Tammy.
Yeah,
Thank
I just
you.
did a show with her. She is so damn funny.
Yeah,
she's
I adore
amazing.
her.
Yeah.
She actually did a special as well when she was pregnant, like Ali Wong.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Tammy is one of those people that also, like you said, will work in so many different formats. She's go to TV, stage, and can walk into radio and just start doing it.
Yeah.
Now we got to figure out what we're going to do with Nate. What's next for him?
I don't think Nate. This is the thing about him that I saw when I first saw him, and I hope you don't mind me saying this.
No, well, I gotta wait till you say it.
There are certain things that comedians have that's a winning formula that helps the jokes. It's like lighter fuel on a fire. And the thing that he has if you were to read his material on a page, you would laugh. Already, you're going to laugh. But then he has the Southern twang and the Southern dialect. It adds like this incredible fuel to the fire, and it accentuates every joke at least 20 to 25%. For somebody who he would know, like Anthony Clark, when he was at his peak, he would have that thing where it's like, you know how to get blood out of things, and he would have that thing where, and he, not that he talked that way, but he did have a Southern accent like Nate, but he accentuated on stage. You don't accentuate it, but the fact is like you can get more out of your jokes if you have something like that. And that's why the Southern comedians tend to do so well, is because not only do they have this great material, I mean, Ron White has great material, but then you add that thing to it, and it just adds to it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
No, I agree. Yeah. No, it helps. This accent helps a lot.
There's a storytelling thing from the South. You know what I mean? It's a very long historical thing, and you bring up Ron White, and I mean that thing. I mean, he can be great on stage and go away from comedy for a while and just be explaining stuff, and then the comedy drops again like a hammer in the middle of it. But
yeah, if you notice, like I don't want to lump in like this, but most comedians who are from a southern part of the country who become famous, they plant their feet and they deliver the material. Mm-hmm. And the material is great, and then they have that dialect that just gets it going in a way where they don't have to jump around, they don't have to move around, they don't have to act out their bits,
right?
They don't have to pace the stage.
Yeah.
They're just there in the box, and that's why it works so well for television. It's just incredible, because most people have to sell a joke. I used to represent this guy, Charlie Barnett, who was the greatest street performer of all time, who's no longer with us, and I remember he used to come to my office and watch tapes of Chappelle, and he'd just be depressed. He's like, I don't understand how he does it. He just stands there and he does the jokes. I can't do that because I don't have the confidence in my material. I have to run around and move, and do things like that. And so he didn't have the kind of material, but he would still get laughs. Like he would stand on a stool and say, the former mayor of New York, he would say, I don't care what you say or what you think. Ed Koch and Frank Perdue are the same motherfucker. And he would get the laugh that's equal to what Nate gets, but he would have to dance around and stand on a stool and forcefully do it, where Nate doesn't have to do that because the material is strong, and with the accent even stronger.
You always wanted to be, dude. I think everybody just wants to do the opposite though of what you do.
Yeah.
Like someone that moves around wants to not move around, but then sometimes I'll look at it, you're like, I wish I'd moved around. You gotta start moving, act like you even want to be up there.
But it does become that thing of finding your own truth. That's the funny thing. And even when we're talking with Voss, you're like, oh, he's so different. than he was years ago. That is also the truth. I don't think you want to take your brand, as they say, and keep it the same. There's nothing worse than seeing somebody at 50 who is doing the same character that they were doing at 25. I really have this thing with you. I was never even going to bring it up, but I think as you get older, it's going to be more comfortable because you got that Southern, you accept the fucking absurdity that happens and you just explain it, and and that's true of the South. Well, they're just say, you know what I mean? Well, his sister's, she's half a waterhead, but she's really sweet, you know, that whole funny thing. But it works better the older you get because you have kind of a conservative look that when you get to be the father figure, it's going to work even better than it does now. I'm mainly surprised how great it pops now, as young as you are.
I'm just as surprised.
Yeah.
Every single time. I'm just serious.
All right, we got to get ready to wrap this up, Chris. Tammy's on the phone?
Tammy just
what
called
time we got to bump out, though, because Opie needs this.
About 3 minutes.
All right, let's jump on with Tammy Pescatelli real quick. Tammy.
Hi, Tammy.
Hello, everybody.
What's up?
Hey, Tammy.
Hey, man. Hey, so I got to tell everybody, Barry, and I say this with all honesty, he didn't pay me, is one of the classiest guys in the industry. He has always believed in the journey to the stage and to the results. But it was hard to be his client when his podcast is bigger than anything that you
I didn't intend it to be that way. It was just something I did in my spare time. I don't know what happened, but I'm glad it did. Tammy, you are classy too. I feel like Johnny Carson and Sammy Davis Jr. on the couch right now.
That's nice to have that moment. Which one of you is Sammy, by the way? That's what I want to know.
Well, but you know what's funny is look at Nate. Nate, what you did, I did a few years back and just left town. But Barry, remember, you were the one who told me that we should hide it from everybody. Don't tell anybody
That's right.
Because you're living in Pennsylvania. And then he sold a show about me living in Pennsylvania. I think the joke is out now.
Oh, awesome.
All right, great.
Well, I didn't want to. Yeah, thanks for you guys. I'm driving back out to my house in the Hidden Hills, and you guys are giving great radio. So thanks for everything.
Thanks so much, sweetie.
Take care.
Bye,
Tammy. You had a blast with her last
I
night.
had so much fun with you. You are so damn funny, Tammy.
You are one of a kind. Bye, honey.
All right. Barry's trying to get me out of the picture, so she didn't want to do all kinds of solo work.
He's going to manage this murder.
Yeah. Well, Barry, we just started this. Give us a couple of weeks.
You really believe that?
Oh, yeah. I'm always looking. My head's on a swivel. Well, we're going to wrap this up. Nate, again, congratulations to you, buddy.
Thank you.
It was
Thank
really,
you. You're
really
the
fun.
best, buddy. You guys are amazing to us comics, and we can't thank you enough for how nice you are.
See, that's the thing that Barry doesn't get. You know what I mean? That you get, we're in this business, and we're just here to be nice and fun. And Barry, congratulations to you. I don't do anybody's podcast, but I want to do yours when we get the opportunity. I know I can't this weekend, but I might be out in L.A. in February. Maybe we'll do it there, or you come back to New York. But I'll definitely do it because you're a lot of fun to hang out with.
I would love that. The Unmasked that I did, it was just so amazing.
Same for me too, dude. It was really, really a great day, and I hear from people about it all the time. And I think it's really great for younger comics that you're just talking about the fact that you can look at people like a lot of guys that they get started for this 2 years in, and they're like, "Where is it?" And you're still talking about people 10, 15, 20 years in that are still finding it.
It's awesome to hear that perspective.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
I told you that one time. I was like, it's so great because it's stuff you've always wanted to know, and you're getting to hear it.
It means a lot that you listen.
It's weird because it's like secrets for these young comics. They hear it for the first time.
And it's free.
Yeah, it's free. So congratulations to you. All right, that's it for us.
Thanks, man.
Same here. And we'll see everybody again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!